Oh, hang on one sec. I just realized I want to shout out to that guy who's losing weight with me, and I didn't put his name in the tweet.
Hello, everyone. Nobody's watching yet, but
hi, nobody watching.
People who watch this later, welcome.
Mini Golf 26. You put it in the notes.
Yeah, but I didn't put his name in there.
Ah.
Bum, 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 bum. I think it's something Blankenship.
See if I can see what this looks like here. Oh yeah, there we are.
Something Blankenship.
See if we can hear the drop. See if I can see what this looks like here.
China!
Oh yeah, there we are.
Something Blankenship.
See if we can hear the drop. Here it goes. See if I can see what this looks like here.
China!
Oh yeah, there we are.
Something Blankenship.
This is some weird
Echo.
Inception stuff here.
That's gonna freak me out.
You can retweet the tweet, and people can watch it on Twitter. It's on my
Okay.
account.
I'll do it once we actually start.
Yeah. Chat.
All right.
Ready?
To go.
Here we go. We got 3 viewers.
All right. Shout out to our 3 viewers. Welcome, everybody, to the 2+2 Pokercast presented by RunItOnce.com. Pokercast 462. We are all back together in the same room for the first time in a while. I'm your host, Dave Schwartz, alongside Roscoe P. Coltrane.
Dad! I did!
And Mr. Terrence Chan. T. Chan, how are you, sir?
I'm doing very well.
Good.
I'm looking at a very skinny Adam Schwartz
Yeah.
across the table from me. Coming back from the golf, I kind of thought there was a chance. Not that I didn't believe in you, but I thought, you're with
I'd fall
your
off the
boys.
wagon.
You're with your boys. You're out on a nice golf course. They're all throwing back some beers and hot dogs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But you were a machine.
The willpower is there. I got to admit, I'm holding strong. So I was at the Matt Savage Invitational Golf Tournament in near Phoenix, outside of Phoenix.
Which is why I had to stumble my way through 2 hours.
Great
last
show.
week.
I listened to it.
You
Totally
listened to
enjoyed it. Yeah.
Thank
Kevin Matt's awesome
Yeah,
to
it's
have
great.
on and talk about the World Series of Poker. That's
Man
his
knows
passion.
everything.
Knows his stuff. So yeah, I'm out in Phoenix. Desert golf is interesting because it's really hot down there at all times. I'm thinking every time I go there, it's been ridiculously hot. So we're playing. It's 41 degrees. Which Celsius, which is whatever, 110 or something.
Yeah.
Some
It's a
ridiculous.
Many zeros.
Many zeros. I don't know why people live in 41 degree heat. Like, why are you?
They like
Go
basically
somewhere else?
live there because it's 25 in December or whatever. But once you get out of there, you need to have all the people from I heard Edmonton is one of the highest ownership percentages of people who live in Phoenix or something like that.
Oh,
do they go back to Edmonton when it's July?
When it's 42 or 43. Yeah,
because they don't want to live in the minus 30 during December. They want to live in the nice 20 of Phoenix. So.
58 golfers are there. We're all sort of in the poker industry, players. Matt Savage, of course, runs the tournament. Does a great job. Him and his team every year. This thing is.
No, I'm surprised that Matt Savage runs things well.
Yeah, exactly. This thing runs like a well-oiled machine, and the golf is fantastic.
How many years has it been now?
I think he's 22.
Wow.
This is my 3rd year on it. But yeah, he's had a couple of the guys have been there for all 22 years. Ton of fun. And but I mean, we're all poker players. A lot of them like to indulge in whatever it is, alcohol, food, etc. So we're out there playing 41 degree heat, and the hotel we're in has a gym, pretty decent gym. So we play in the morning. It's super hot, and I get off the course and I go right to the gym.
Wow.
like 41 degree
Nice.
heat. I was like, wow. And I was the only one in there, of course,
Yeah.
because I've got these bets and everything going. But
and this is after golfing a whole bunch and walking around all day. Yeah.
in super hot heat. So that's how I knew that I was pretty focused on it. So had a good time for sure. It was good. Yeah, down to 192.
192.
For
that's like a total of 25 since the
35 pounds.
35.
I started at 227 on March 1st. For those that were listening to the Bill Perkins interview, he offered me a free roll, $25,000.
He's in trouble. He's in trouble.
I think I still, feel like I have an outside shot at getting to it. So I have to get to 150 by December 1st. 108. And get it. I got to be 150 by December 1st and hold it for 8 consecutive weeks. I have to do 8 weigh-ins.
Yeah. So it means you have to be walking around at 160 in the low 160s. To make the weight,
or even like
every week.
Maybe low 150s.
Preferably better.
Yeah.
Preferably better. Yeah. Because I'll tell you that jumping in the sauna every week isn't fun.
Kind of suck, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I want to be 152, 153.
You can walk around in the low 50s. You'll be good.
That's what I want. That's the goal. So I got to get to 150. I have another bet though with MJ, the old co-host of this show, and some others that I have to be under 180 by July 22nd.
Okay.
So I got 12 pounds to go in about 6 weeks, 2 pounds a week. I think they're in trouble there. I got a pretty good shot at making that. If I keep going, keep the willpower going. But yeah, it's been quite an interesting ride. I'm feeling great for those, and there's somebody on who listens to our show who's jumped in on board and been giving us updates. Derek Blankenship, listener to the show, he started at 203. He's down to 183. So he's lost 20 pounds since I think the end of March was when he started. So a couple of months.
Chili Dog in the forum, of course, has
Chili Dog,
been updating progress. He lost a bunch. Our good the good doctor in Reno.
Yeah, he's working on his diet as well. Yeah. So it's fun that people are jumping
Pokercast Nation is getting smaller.
Let's go.
Is getting less horizontal.
Yeah, that's right. I feel so much better. I mean, I can't even explain.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear it.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. And then went off to LA. I was at a hockey tournament with my son in LA, so we had a fun 4 or 5 days there, and made it to the final, but lost in the final. But had some good times with the kids, so that was great too.
They have hockey tournaments. Are you playing against American teams or just all the okay?
So we played 2 teams from San Diego and 1 team from Riverside, California. Yeah. The San Diego team they're
all inspired by this Mighty Ducks shit that happened 20 years ago.
And so the AHL team in San Diego is called the Gulls, and they have kids teams that under them, and I guess some of the team players on the team, their kids are on the team or whatever. They're a traveling team. This team that beat us in the final was a really, really good hockey team. So that was good to see that hockey is alive and well in Southern California. All the kids were playing it.
You got to see Clayton Kershaw's probably worst start of the season.
We did, yeah. Went to Dodger Stadium and saw Kershaw versus Lester.
Yeah,
and we thought, wow, the 2 best pitchers in baseball. I think we're gonna have like a 3-run game, and it was like 11-8 or something. Home runs were just flying out of the park.
That was pretty great. Yeah, that game was.
It was good.
It was a good game.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. The kids had a great time.
Clayton Kershaw, the man who makes $10,000 per pitch.
Yeah, just whether it was a home run or not. So much excitement in the poker world right now. All poker players around the world are giddy, right? I mean, you're glued. If you're not in Vegas,
it feels weird that I'm not there. I'll tell you what. I mean, it's been part for like 15 years in a row. I've been there right at the start. I was actually telling my girlfriend the other day that it was weird watching the Stanley Cup Finals in my own living room because every single time, like I'm trying to run around Vegas trying to find where I can watch the Stanley Cup Finals. Like I might be watching it on like a standard definition TV at an Airbnb or something. Right. Like that. I was like, oh, I'm actually watching the Stanley Cup Finals at home. This is a weird feeling. Even the year the Canucks made it to the finals, I still watched the first 2 games from Las Vegas. Right. So it feels weird to not be there, not be a part of it. But I'm excited to go. I'll be there in 2 days actually.
Yeah. So you changed your flight, right? You were gonna go.
Yeah. I just decided.
You're like, I gotta get down there.
Let's go. Yeah. And so I'm heading down there Wednesday. It wasn't that much earlier. It was just a couple days earlier.
I listened to your VRBO got canceled. You found another one, no problem.
Yeah. I'm actually just staying with a friend right now, so we'll figure it out once I get there what we're gonna do. Nice. But I got rescued by a spare bedroom.
Oh, there you go. So if you're not there and you're a poker player, you're glued to the coverage, and you're watching online. You're watching the WSOP.com updates. You're watching all the different stuff that's going on. Poker Go, and we'll talk about that in a minute. With Poker Central, with their coverage is awesome, podcasts, tons of stuff. But I'm excited to talk about this. Poker Vision, the company that I have taken a job with, we're going to do a live streamed live from Vegas. Hopefully, I think we're going to try 6 days a week.
Okay.
We're going to go July 15th to July 18th. And we're going to have lots of guests and talk about what's going on in the World Series every year. We're going to stream it. That's going to be a lot of fun. So we're
Poker content. It's making a comeback.
More content is better. Roscoe, you're going to be you're going to go from audio engineer to video engineer.
Yeah, the same way that when I joined the Pokercast, I got thrown into this giant studio and had to learn the ropes. So hopefully this will be a smoother transition than that.
We'll have some help. There's a video engineer going to help you and teach you the ropes.
Definitely excited to be at the series.
It's going to be fun, right? Yeah, looking forward to that. T, you're going down. Hopefully we can do some shows together, and
hopefully I don't get put in the executive suites. Down the suite.
I've stayed at the executive suites. It's interesting.
You could be at the budget suites.
The budget
suites are worse than the executive suites.
I thought, that's what I meant. The motel down the street.
The motel, yeah. No, it's hopefully we'll be at the Rio. I think we'd like to be in the middle of it all. The Rio, you can get rooms for $49.
It's pretty cheap.
It's pretty cheap. It's not the greatest hotel in the world, but hey, you're in the middle of the
But they're all suites, Adam.
They're all suites. Yeah.
No, they're not. They're not.
If you call that a suite,
that's not what suite means.
So excited to get down there. I think we're going to go down next Monday, a week today. We're going to do the Pokercast from there. We're going to do the shows. A lot of content is going to be coming everybody's way. So hopefully people get excited about that. I wanted to talk. You're looking for a house at the moment. We talked about this before. You're trying to find some
the big piece of land
in the middle of nowhere.
And I happen to live in. I mean, people know that the two cities I spend most of my time with are Vancouver and Hong Kong, which are two of the most expensive cities in the world per square foot.
Top three.
So I'm like, well, I could. My big house plan could be just win the main event.
Right.
That's a start. But more realistically, probably just go to the interior British Columbia. We kind of want to stay in BC so that friends and family, still have connections. Yeah, my parents, her parents, all this stuff. We can do this. So we're looking at a piece of land. We think we found a good one. Putting down offers, doing the whole back and forth of.
So let's talk about that. The GTO house buying experience.
I mean, I'm not the expert on this.
Yeah,
I came to you to ask this because. Those who don't know, Adam's.
I sold a few houses in my time.
You're a real estate. We'll call you a semi-pro,
aficionado,
a semi-pro,
connoisseur,
a serious amateur.
A serious amateur. Yeah, that's right. I'm the Bill Perkins of real estate.
You're a serious amateur, so you know about this buy and sell. And there's all this game, like for whatever reason, we've gotten into this world where house prices and land prices, they're never what the actual list price is.
Right.
It all has to be negotiable. And it's a weird thing when you think about just kind of commerce generally. What are the things you bargain on? If you walked into a 7-Eleven and the chocolate bar was $1.49 and you're like, will you give this to me for $1.34? And then the clerk counters with $1.47. The world would scream to a halt.
Yeah.
And yet it's so many things that it's considered standard. A lot of third world countries, I've been in Southeast Asia, Latin America. You go the old lady on the street when you want to buy the T-shirt that's got the funny logo on it.
You bargain.
It starts at $10 and then it's $5. Oh, that's too much, and you start to walk away.
You must be mad. We didn't get Python drops. Sorry.
Yeah. So. I mean, I just don't. It's sort of a weird thing. What do we decide to negotiate on in the world? Car buying. I mean, people hate buying cars.
There's not much negotiating anymore. When you go buy a new car in these days, the price is the price.
The price is the price.
3 shall be the number thou shalt count.
Yes.
And the number of the counting shall be 3.
But so
used cars, though.
Used cars you do. Yeah. But with houses, what happens is you get a bunch of people who really don't have a lot of experience in thinking about game theory almost. And this is sort of a game theory problem.
It is.
And there are huge amounts of money, especially when you're talking about
Vancouver. It's an emotion problem too. I mean, so a lot of the time you're buying somebody's house, they've lived in that house, they have memories. They have memories, they raised their kids there. Yeah. They installed that they installed the kitchen. They did the renos on the floor or whatever. And so, we know that there's a psychological effect associated with that you know tends to overvalue things for sellers. And meanwhile for the buyers, it's on the other side. It's like, oh, they're tired, they've been looking at 12 different houses.
Their house has been on the market for 5 months.
Yep.
Nobody's bought it.
Yep. But even from the buying side, like the people who have gone and buy it, they've looked at house after house, and you know the wife likes this one, but the husband doesn't like this, and the wife doesn't like that, or the another one. So they're kind of getting fatigued too. So it's almost there's this game that gets played of who can be emotionally less invested,
right?
And who's will. It's not unlike like tournament deal making.
Yeah,
you know, in a way to think about it. Except I would say poker tournament deal making is a lot easier because we have these things called ICM, and we know kind of the value of chips or something like that. But unless you're looking at, say, condos in the same building or something like that, there's no comparable. Like your house is different from my house.
Right.
How can we compare them strictly? You're in a different neighborhood. You're in a nicer neighborhood. I have more land. Yours is newer, but I renovated. You know, there's all this kind of stuff. You have 3 bedrooms. I have 3.5 bedrooms. You know, whatever. Like, you know.
Well, and the people you should be looking for advice on are real estate agents, because they understand the market. They've got comps.
But they're not incentivized to give you
2 things. A, you're exactly right. They're incentivized for you to buy that house as fast as possible, least amount of work, the most amount of commission. And 2, they're good at it. Just because they're a real estate agent doesn't mean they're good at a lot of things. They could be good at marketing. They could have a big circle of friends that they sell to. It doesn't mean they're very good at actually negotiating, finding the best price for you. Right. So but I mean, I think the incentive thing is tough, right? Because, like, you know, the selling agent's incentive is to, you know, both are to make the sale, because they don't really care whether you get, you know, 650,000 or 660,000. That's $10,000 to you, but it's what, like $200,
one half of 1% for them, or something, or 1.5%. Yeah, it's
whatever
very
it
little
is
to you. Like locking in the deal is worth so much more, but it's still 10,000 real dollars to you, or whatever. And they don't want to lose the sale because of that. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is, and it's tough, and it's almost like a game. I mean, the GTO way to do it is to have 4, 5, 6 places that you're happy with, and you can go in and walk away from any of the deals, and you go in and go, "This is what I'm paying here. I'm going to get it for a good price."
But it's never like that. It's always like, "Oh, I love this one." You know,
exactly.
You know, it's.
And there's all kinds of different things in your life going on. Do you have to move right now? And you
can't make simultaneous offers too. Like, you can't just be like, okay, I like this one and I'd be willing to pay $750 for it. I like this one, but not as much. I'd be willing to pay $695. You can't make it like a combined offer. You can just be like, okay, I have to pick this one and make an offer on this one.
Right. So, your experience, give us.
I mean, I feel like I'm getting owned in negotiations pretty
hard.
Which
is crazy, right? Like, you should be the last person in the world that gets owned in this.
Yeah, I mean, you would think, but I also, like, I don't have a lot of experience in it, and I know there's things I would have done differently, and I think, you know, maybe when when it all completes and it goes through, I'll think back and say, like, okay, how should I do my strategy? And maybe I'll write a strat post based on this. Maybe I'll do a video and
what I did wrong.
See if Galfond will put it up on the site. We can make a special section called home buying. But like, maybe I think I've learned some lessons even already.
Okay, tell me one lesson. We'll move on. Tell me one lesson that you've learned from this buying that maybe people can learn from when they go buy a house.
I mean, I think the main thing is that you have to be willing to just let it sit on the market longer, right? So if a place has been on the market, let's say 10 days, that's not a very long time. The sellers aren't very scared yet, unless they've literally gotten no showings, which is really unlikely. So, you know, if you put in an offer and they make a counter that's not very good or getting close to you, it's probably better just to, like, drop it,
let it expire,
and maybe you can come back like
a week later.
Yeah, a week later, and maybe that puts you in a better position, because now you know that they haven't had another offer come in that's better than your offer, at least.
My biggest pet peeve with real estate agents is when they say to you, you're looking at a house, what they'll say is, you better make a decision because they've got 3 showings 2 days from now.
Right.
And it's this lie, like they're not incentivized.
I mean, it might be the truth, but what percentage of showings actually result in an offer anyway?
Some puny percent. First of all, it's got to be the truth, which it often isn't. Second of all, like you said, 0.01% of people look at a place are actually going to end up buying it. So, yeah,
it's so salesy, right? It's so salesy.
Yeah,
it's the same. It's the same when you're buying a used car. It's like, oh, I had a guy come in here. You know, I think he really wants it. You know, it's like, and then he's trying to take away. You know, you trying to negotiate an extra 1,000 or 2,000 off that car.
You know who does it perfect is Australia. Auction system.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be like, okay, here's my house. In a month from now or 3 weeks from now, everybody can come look at it for 3 weeks, and then on Saturday morning, 3 weeks from now, we're going to have an auction out front of the house on the street.
That's great.
If you were interested in buying this house, come to the auction.
That's the way for the seller to get the most money for sure.
Right. It's the best way to do it.
The seller's interest of the I mean, because often what happens in auction situations is the crowd gets caught up in competing against each other. Now they've become emotionally attached to the house.
Exactly.
They'll start battling against each other.
Yeah.
And so the seller the seller definitely wins in that.
Except I don't know how they mitigate the risk of nobody showing up. Maybe if somebody shows up, and I mean, they must have a minimum or something, because you show up and go,
sure.
There'll be a minimum, 10 grand or something. That wouldn't go well. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Poker Go. This is Poker Central's live streaming service from the World Series of Poker this year. We talked about it with Remco a few shows back. I signed up. I jumped in and paid the $10 for a month to check it out. And I watched the the big one, the high roller for one drop, the $111,000 buy-in last night. It was a lot of fun to watch. Lon, Jeff Gross.
Did you sign up for the month or for the year?
I did the month.
Okay. I think most people are probably signing up for the month right now because it's a World Series time. That's when you're going to be getting the most content.
I feel like their pricing was bad. I think $10 per month, and I think it was $89 for the year.
Is that what it was? Okay.
I mean, I think if they would have gone 10 for a month, maybe 49 for the year, I would have bought the year. Yeah. But 89 just seemed like I might not be watching it after, or don't know what's going to happen.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't do the Netflix thing where it's like your first month is $3, but you have to give a credit card.
Right.
And most people are too lazy to cancel.
So that's what they did. They do that.
Oh, they do that.
You have to actually phone. I think they don't have a button where you can unsubscribe, or you actually have to either phone them. Yeah, that part I disagreed with. They don't make it easy to cancel, which kind of sucked. But the coverage is fantastic for $10. I mean, the coverage, fantastic. I love listening to Lon and Norm. They're my favorites. I know a lot of people want advanced strat and stuff, but that's not really what I'm looking for all the time. So I enjoy, Norm and Lon doing it, and then having guys like Jeff Gross in there makes it a lot of fun. But the coverage is fantastic. I know there were some streaming issues here and there. They had, it's their first kick at this thing. They're just getting going. So there's going to be some glitches, and you just got to be patient with them, I think. And
there are always going to be a lot of people who are just upset with the inherent nature of it, and the fact that this is something you used to get for free.
Exactly.
We're used to getting World Series streams for free, and now you have to pay $10 for it. That's going to upset people. And I guess the question is, do you think that this market is mature enough that they can start charging people money and monetizing in this way, as opposed to the old model of just advertising? Yeah,
I think so. I think it's going to be a very restricted group. I remember we talked about getting not taking advertisers for this show and doing a subscription service, and that's one of the reasons that I always was kind of hesitant, because of the fact that you just said people are used to getting it for free and they expect lots of different stuff. Sometimes we'll take a week off or whatever we'll do, and the last thing you want to do is, if somebody's paying,
feel like you're not giving people a deal.
Giving them value. So, but I think a certain of the audience will take to it. I'm a bit scared of the fact that recreational players aren't going to enjoy it. That casual player isn't going to go pay $10.
They don't have that exposure. Yeah, it's this kind of thing. Like if Joe Blow makes the final table, his buddies at work used to be able to just go on WSOP. His wife and his family are going to be.
Let's watch Joe.
Be able to watch and throw it up on the TV at home. They actually have to do the subscription thing now.
Yeah. So, but I'm excited about it. I think the coverage is fantastic. It's high def. It's what I watched last night when I first signed up. It was great. So they're going to do. I want to talk about their schedule here. Their live streaming schedule is as follows. They're going to do starting the World Series of Poker high roller for one drop. So 3 days of that's finishing up today, the final table. And we'll talk about the final table later. Then they're going to take a day off, June 7th, 8th, and 9th. They're going to do the 10K Heads Up Championship. And then on the 10th, they're going to do a 1500 no limit 6 max. Then 14, 16, 17, 18. There's a bunch of events. Go from July 2nd. They take 6 days off to July 8th. I wonder why, when you have everything in place, so you've spent all this money building a set, getting the announcers, doing all this, and I'm sure there might be a good reason, but why you're not there every day taping it, and maybe because you should we'll go through the people who are commentating. There's a large list,
right?
So it's not like one person has to be there every day doing this. There's a wide group of people that could, and the equipment's already there. I wonder why they're not showing everything.
It could just be a matter of paying the production people all the money to to do that. You've got cameramen and the on-screen talent too. And I mean, we don't know what they're working for right now.
True,
but I imagine it's just a cost-cutting thing.
So here's the broadcasters: Lon McCarron, Norman Chad, David Tuckman's doing breakdesk host, Tatiana Pasalic, sideline reporter, Jeff Gross, Jonathan Little, Doug Polk, David Williams. First events, and then the main event, of course, the regular crew of Lon, Norm, Kara, Joe Stapleton, Ali Najad's going to do some stuff for Poker Go for the main event with Nick Schulman. Everybody loves Nick Schulman. I think he's a great commentator. He's probably my favorite. He's fantastic. Antonio Negrano and Helmuth, of course, back into the main event coverage as well. So looking forward to a summer watching Poker Go, and happy to pay the $10. I thought it was pretty good deal. Quickly, again, consuming content for players who aren't in Vegas. Some of the stuff that's coming out this year, fantastic. And I'm talking about some of the vlogs. I don't know if you guys have been watching any of these. Daniel Negrano is putting out a vlog a day. It's about a 30 minute. Somebody's following him around, going into his trailer, talking about his hands, his day, his tables. Really, really interesting.
Yeah, and it's easy content for him to be able to do it once a day, because I mean, Daniel's a guy who just naturally speaks into a camera very well, and so he doesn't have to sit at his computer and type it all up and generate all his thoughts. Somebody just stuffs a camera in his face. Okay, how's your day?
Way easier for him.
Any interesting events today? What about that crazy thing that happened and this, or what about that?
And you get into his lifestyle and stuff that everybody loves to see. His trailer and all the different stuff. So if you're interested in some content, check out Daniel's vlog. Also, Doug Polk's doing a really, really good vlog that he's been doing every day.
What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Doug Polk here. But it's fun to watch. And the other one is Andrew Neem. I contacted Andrew. People have been asking to have Andrew on the show. He's a Vegas pro, Vegas cash game guy, and he's been vlogging for a while now, and built up a huge following. He'll go in and show hands and talk about hands that he plays in these cash games. Really, really comes across really well on camera. Interesting dude. Check out his stuff during the World Series of Poker. Andrew Neem, Neeme. Hopefully we're going to have him on the show next week to talk about his vlog and the World Series of Poker, etc. All right, so why don't we move on to some In Case You Missed It.
How did he miss the open goal? 6x4, and he comes up 0. Oh, no! Oh, yes! He missed it. He missed it! How on earth did he miss that?
So today on the show, we don't have a guest. We're just going to recap what's going on in the World Series, get everybody caught up with that, some mailbags, some stuff, and then we'll again, when we get down there, it's tough. Everybody's playing events, right? We're trying to have guests, and it's like, oh, I'm playing an event today. Sorry.
Typically, historically, in the past few years of the Pokercast, this is the time where we get all the European pros that we because any Europeans that didn't also fly out to Vegas, that's usually what we get. We get them because they're just twiddling on their thumbs playing online poker.
Exactly. So, but when we get down there, I think we'll be right in the middle of the whole thing.
Grab some people.
It'll be a little different situation. Okay, so let's start off. Let's get through a couple of the World Series events. We'll take a break, come back on the other side, and finish that up. World Series of Poker event number 1, and we'll go through these events. We're not going to talk tons of time about every single one of them, but some of them had some interesting things happen. So let's go through them. The Casino Employees event, which you played in a few years back.
I did.
You've played in
3 or 4 levels of it.
Yeah. It's was it $565? I think entry fee. Was won by poker dealer Brian Hollis, who gets his first career cash winning a bracelet. These are always great stories a lot of the time. Chad Holloway won one year, of course, the poker reporter. So he's always got
Chad Holloway playing a substantial larger portion of events, I think.
Is he really?
Yeah, I think I saw
playing a bunch?
Saw that he was selling a package and everything like that. So
So Brian Hollis wins. He 651 entrants. He wins 69,000. So great start to his World Series of Poker. Now he can. I don't know if he came out to deal or if he's a dealer back home.
Right.
But pretty cool story. Event 2 was interesting. This is the $10,000 tag team event. And had a star-studded final table. Right. Last year, you'll remember they had a 1K tag team, so it was really, really popular. So they moved it to a 10K as well this year. Pretty cool. 102 teams entered, and the format was each team could have a minimum of 2 players, maximum of 4. So you know, it's one of these situations where super teams get put together,
right?
And
because the thing about the 1K, of course, was because it was a 1K, there's going to be a lot of times where some pro was just looking for like some schlub to just fold 1 orbit, because the rule on the one, I don't know, I assume it's the same rule in 10K. Yeah. You only had to play 1 orbit.
1 orbit, pay blinds once.
So yeah, exactly. So you know. But now when you increase it to a 10K buy-in, now you're talking real money. So if you have 1 partner, it's a 5K, and if you have 3 partners, it's a 2,500. So now you have actually multiple people playing. So it's kind of more in the spirit of things when it's a 10K, just because you hit that higher price point where you know it actually matters, and people don't necessarily have to have 100% of themselves, because you know if you're talking about big name superstar who plays 10Ks and 50Ks all the time, he's not going to want to split his action in a 1K tournament with whatever. Of course, there's exceptions, but a lot of those were like that last year.
But the other interesting thing is when you get pros getting together. A lot of guys have egos, right? And
sure. Who's going to play?
Who's going to play? Who's going to play the most? Who's going to play the final table if we get there?
Yep.
Who's going to play in this spot?
Definitely.
It's interesting because when we have these swaps, when one player goes to another player, hey, you want to swap 1%, and that player goes, well, I'm better than you, so I'm not. I'll take 0.75 or I'll take 1.25 to your 1 or something like that.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff happens all the time, right? And then so when you get together with a partner, most of the time you both think you're the best player in the world, especially some of these top guys. So it's hard to give way. Daniel Negreanu. So and before the World Series of Poker, we always talk about these bracelet bets that get made every year. They're a lot of fun to look at and follow. Last year, of course, Jason Mercier with his 3 bracelet bet with Vanessa Selbst almost put her in the poorhouse there, but ultimately fell short. This year, Jason offered minus 110 to anybody, so $110. $110 to win 100. That either he or Daniel would win a bracelet this year. Put it out there, and he said, and if you just want to bet against myself, I will take plus 170. So you'd have to put, if you wanted to bet against Jason, bet 170 to win 100. Which in years past, you'd looked at the series, and a lot of people would. I remember back in the Durer days, it was like 2.3 to 1, 2.2 to 1, something like that. Now we're down to Jason.
Well, the fields are smaller, and you've got more big buy-in tournaments,
right? So. And these tag team events type thing. So Jason said plus 170. I think a lot of people probably took him up on that. So and as well in the Daniel Negreanu bet. So we get to this event, 102 teams. Daniel's team includes himself, Mark Gregorich, David Benjamin, and Eric Wasserson. Which I thought was sort of an interesting selection of teams. Mark Gregorich is a mixed game player, fantastic player. Benjamin, sort of an old school guy, probably plays more mixed games than No Limit Hold'em. Wasserson, I'm not 100% sure about. But Daniel didn't go ahead and pick No Limit Hold'em superstars.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that reason is because he wanted to be the guy playing all the time. And that's totally reasonable. If he feels he's a great player, I'm going to go out and pick a bunch of guys who will play in orbit, put up half the money or a quarter of the money, and I'll play a bunch. They've always got to be okay with Daniel playing the lion's share of the event, which he did.
Right.
They ended up finishing in third, so everybody almost lost right out of the gate with their bet with Jason and Daniel bet, because he ended up getting right to the final table and finishing in third place. The second place team was Ankush Mandiva and Joe Kuther, who ended up getting second. Winners was a really cool team. Awesome. I love this because Liv Marie and Igor Kurganov, who of course
from a media standpoint, almost certainly the best team that could have won it.
Right? Yeah.
The best storyline.
So these two have been together. They're a couple from the last couple of years for sure, and just really happy people and fun guys to be around. It's pretty cool. They ended up winning. Igor played the lion's share. I think Liv spelled him when he needed to take some pee breaks or something, she was saying. But here's the cool thing. So they decided at the beginning, and of course they're involved with the REG charity.
Yeah.
REG is, was it stand for responsible giving or something like that?
Raising for effective
giving. There it is.
The word.
Yeah. Roscoe, got it. So they decided that REG was going to be their third and fourth partners. So they were going to be the 1, 2, and the REG charity was going to be 3 and 4. Obviously,
nobody from REG played in Orbit.
They didn't play in Orbit, and they didn't put up any money of the 10K, but they donated half of the $272,000 first prize pool to the REG charity.
They just sort of thought beforehand, like, look, it's a special event, it's slightly gimmicky, let's just donate 50% of what it is. And they're people who regularly, forgive the pun, donate to this charity anyway. So, they just thought, okay, well, up to 50%. So we can accuse them of buying karma, I think.
They got it. Whatever they did, it
paid off. Good return on investment. But yeah, great for them to see. And, what you talked about, with respect to these teams and, stars and egos like that, if I feel like if anything could potentially tear apart a poker relationship on shaky ground, it would be like a boyfriend and a girlfriend making a final table, both themselves very good professional poker players, both wanting to play in the end. But no, absolutely no problems at all. I think you mentioned that Igor played most of it. He's got a lot of experience playing high stakes cash, but he also feels comfortable that he can take a break anytime if he wants to, and that his partner is also an excellent poker player.
How gross would it be if Igor's playing, like, I'm sure they have a great relationship, but nothing would get to them. But let's say Igor's playing, he's got a bunch of chips, maybe he's second in the table of chips, he takes a pee break, he comes back, and Liv busts to the chip leader at the table.
Right. Like, in some gross fashion, stuff is going to happen in this thing, and I think that's part of the drama. I mean, if this will certainly be a fun event to watch, like, on TV, because, I'm sure somebody at some point will do something really bad.
A lot of drama.
And create a drama, for sure. Cool story. I think I even read Liv saying, I'm not bad, but Igor's the best, and so she has no ego.
Yeah, which is great. It's how it has to be.
You wonder if, like, Vanessa or somebody who's got a big ego, and there's nothing wrong with that. Got together with another person with a similar ego, and maybe there's a bit of a battle.
It could happen for sure. But I guess part of the selection process is to kind of know your teammate and how well you think you will clash with them under a high stress situation.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's take a break there. We're going to come back, recap some of the other events, talk about some other things, emails, etc. After the break. You're listening to the 2+2 Pokercast presented by RunItOnce.com. More right after this.
All right. See how our viewership's doing. It's not doing great. 10 viewers.
Hey. You got a tweet I can retweet?
Yeah.
He did.
Go to maybe quote it, because it just says I started a live broadcast. Quote it and say streaming Pokercast.
Okay.
I put it on our Facebook page as well.
All right. You guys ready to go?
Mm-hmm. It's just loading. Played tennis with my dad yesterday. It was so hard.
Why?
I haven't played tennis since I was a kid.
Oh, tennis is
just like I watch so much tennis now, and I'm like, I'll just like back and forth, and you just like, no.
It's a real sport, man.
So much skill required. It's ridiculous.
So I play tennis with MJ a lot.
Yeah,
and MJ feels like he's a really good tennis player, right? I'm not very
good.
MJ
feels like he's a very good tennis.
Yeah, he does, because he's played for a lot of his life.
Okay.
I'm not the greatest tennis player, but one of my big strengths is I always get the ball back.
Okay.
Yeah. So it drives MJ crazy, because
so you're just frustrating.
I frustrate him. I'm frustrating to play against, and I don't crush it back. I dink it back. I hit it and make a move around the court or whatever. And he tries to hit real shots. Meanwhile, I'm just kind of dinking it back, and it pisses him off, because he'll hit a real shot into the net after I dink it back 4 times.
Right.
He gets furious. But the other thing I do is I try. My first serve is but wild. Like I'll get in maybe 15-20% of my first serves, and my second serve I dink over the net because I can get it in every time.
Yeah.
And it infuriates MJ because it's not the way the game's supposed to be played, and he gets so furious.
And that is things that MJ feels strongly about. It's like there's a way you're supposed to do stuff.
Yeah, so I always beat him.
Yeah,
no, I think I'm undefeated
by effectively just playing only defense.
Right. And my brother too.
The thing is, if he had more patience, he could just do that back to you.
Same thing, yeah.
He could do the same thing back to you. Yeah.
And my brother is another athletic guy. I always beat him because of the same thing. I just get it back. I get it back, and they just hammer it. Sooner or later, they make an unforced error.
See, this is a sport I could get into. One where you just tilt people.
Oh, yeah, it is. MJ is so tilted.
Tilt people and beat people you aren't better than is that's like the best thing in sports. It's to like beat people you're not better than.
To the point now, MJ refuses to play me.
So you won for life. You just won for life.
Yeah.
He quit you.
It's fun.
He quit you. You get to hold that forever.
All right.
Hi, MJ. In case he's one of the he might be one of the 5
people watching. I don't think so.
Watching from where?
He's frying eyeballs right now. At his. We should just phone MJ one time at the office
because we've never done that before.
We haven't done it in a long time.
We haven't done it in a while. Oh, we were gonna call my mom and ask about her trip to Vegas.
Well,
my mom went to Vegas
and she hated Vegas.
She didn't like Vegas, even though she's like.
Why don't we call your mom?
We can try calling her. Yeah.
Okay.
Right now?
Sure. Well, after the show.
Okay, let's jump into number 2 then.
All right.
Welcome back to the 2+2 Pokercast presented by RunItOnce.com. Moving on, we just talked about event number 2, the 10K tag team. We're now going to move on to the event number 3, the 3K. Kelly Kellner, by the way, who is with PokerVision, the guy who's
the grand and
around of PokerVision, he played this event, and we're all like, he's played some, he's a decent player, but he
was almost chip leader of the Playground Poker.
He was almost until he donked off his chips, but we won't talk about that. He decided to play the 3K. Now, the 3K shootout is traditionally, and we were telling him this, one of the hardest events. It's a tough event. Not a lot of casual players.
Okay, I'll disagree with that.
You played this.
I'll disagree with that. There's not a lot of casual players, but there are. But the problem because I think every mid-range no limit hold'em tournament does have its fair share of casual players. The problem is that when you get down, if you get deep enough and you run good early in your table, now you're playing four-handed, fairly deep stacks most of the time against good players. So the format chews up weak players, and very few weak players actually win their first table. Almost none of them win the second table. So anytime you're talking about the final table of the shootout, it's always like stellar.
Yeah,
it's super tough. So it's not that there are fewer weak players entering the event, it's that the attrition rate is awful.
They have less of a chance.
They have less of a chance because a lot of times they'll get heads up like 80 big blinds deep against some pro,
and they're dead.
What's the chance against that? I mean, they'll still have like a 20% chance or something like that, but the attrition rate is brutal. So that day 2 is always tough. I mean, I've won many shootout tables at the World Series in my time. The first table is always like, this is great, I'm rampaging everybody, and then you show up second day, it's like, oh, everybody's really good here.
Yeah,
that sucks.
So the format, we're trying to tell them, Raquel, that this might not be the best tournament for you to play.
I mean, whatever, but it's fun.
It's fun,
whatever.
Sure.
Who are we to tell him how to spend his money?
Exactly, and of course, he goes and wins his first table, which is awesome. Good for him. He got his first World Series of Poker cash. Gets to the second table, and it's five-handed. Second tables day 2 was five-handed. I believe Taylor Parr won his table, crushed Kelly's dream.
You probably know everybody else at the table too.
You did, yeah. There was a bunch of people at that table that were tough. Olivier Busquet ended up final tabling. Okay. He won his first 2 tables. And I don't think he was at that table.
Oh, okay.
But he ended up final tabling. Yeah. The winner, Abshika De Silva, ends up taking his second bracelet. 368 other people that he managed to take down. The $229,000 first prize. His second bracelet, interesting story. He got to the airport apparently and either missed his flight or something happened. It was delayed and he couldn't get to Vegas because this is one of the events he really wanted to play.
Yeah.
Couldn't get to Vegas in time, decided in the airport to pay triple the airfare on some other flight to get him in time for this flight.
That can't be a plus EV decision.
Right, that's what I was saying. And right, it's a $3,000 event. And here he is paying, it had to be over $1,000 extra to make this event. He's paying a pretty big rate to get out there for this. that's poker players, right? They need to get there for their chosen.
I mean, not everybody is an EV machine. Some people just love action.
Well, look at you. If it was back in the day, the 10K limit hold'em event, and you were sitting in the airport and you were going to miss the event,
right?
Would you pay another $2,000 to get there for the?
It's like, I mean, maybe it's worth it. Yeah, exactly.
It's a EV decision, but it's also emotion, like we talked about with the housing stuff. Event 4. The $1,500 Omaha 8 or better was won, and only because I wasn't there, by Ben Zamani. He also,
don't worry, there's still a 10K.
No, it's going on now.
Is it? These guys all got so lucky.
They did. They faded me being in Vegas. Ben Zamani also takes his second bracelet as well for $238,900 players played a $1,500 08 event. And I thought that was really cool. Because, and I didn't look at the numbers for last year or whatever, but 900 people playing an Omaha 8 or better event, 1,500,
it's all their best game.
Everybody thinks it's their best game, of course, the mixed game players, but there's not 900 people
who are
really good at Omaha 8 or better.
Yeah, you missed the part where it's a 1,500 event. I mean, 1,500 events, limit events. I mean, and no limit events, I guess, are always good value, and no matter what the discipline is. Like, you know, I think actually possibly the highest TV event might be 1,500 horse. I mean, this is shocking, and I'm not good at horse. But people are shockingly bad. At a lot of the games. I mean, it just doesn't. There are a lot of people that like their best game is. They would make them the weakest player in the field. Just
I played Raz before. How hard can it be? Or I've played 7-stud 8 or better. I got 2 games.
Yeah, people would just kind of no real concept of poker theory. Just somehow show up in the 1,500 horse.
I don't play well.
But I thought it was cool, and again, early in the series, right? We're early, and people are, and the stretch of tournament that came along, the amount of money that was the buy-ins for the people playing all the big ones was pretty ridiculous. We had the $300,000 super high roller bowl. We had 25 and 50K super high rollers at Aria every night. We have the $111,000 one drop. I mean, the start is just murderer's row of big buy-ins.
I remember Justin Bonomo posted on Facebook something like that. It's like the highest 10-day stretch of poker tournaments to ever occur. Really? And he was saying with a bunch of other people, it's like, well, everybody's either going to be broke or rich at the end of this week. Like, it's just crazy, right? It just, and that's what it is. Yeah, but it's like huge 5 and 6 figure buy-ins all the way through,
nonstop. Interesting that they did that right at the beginning instead of hanging off, because traditionally some of those events had been near the end of the series. But they decided
to let people scrape up money from backers to throughout the series.
And we'll see how it works out.
See how it affects the poker economy the rest of the way.
Exactly. All right, so that was Chico de Silva's event in event 3. Sorry, that was we're at the $1,500 08. Ben Zamani wins his.
Now on to the Colossus.
And event 5 is the opus that is the Colossus every year. And I mean, last year, so this year they had 18,000 entries, or 18,053 entries over 6 flights. This is a $565 entry. 21,000 entries last year, over 21,000. We're down to 18,000. We're talking about the poker economy. Now, there's all the thing about this is I don't really think you can go, wow, there's 21,000 entries last year and there's 18 this year. Wow, the economy's crazy. It's gone into the tank, but nobody plays poker anymore. First of all, 18,000 is a giant amount of entries. Number. Second, there's so many variables that could affect this: where it's placed in the series, what tournaments are going on at the same time, that kind of thing.
One of the things that I think is a big one this year is there's a lot of other small buy-in events, right? So you have the 365 giant.
It's not the only small buy-in.
Yeah, and that's probably the main competition. The 365 buy-in with the multiple flights, and you've had like things like Crazy Eights in the past, but there are a lot of smaller buy-in events, and the WSOP continues to kind of go towards there's sort of this weird bifurcation where they're increasing the number of very small events and increasing the number of very large events. That's happening. So I mean, I don't think they're too concerned about the 18,000 number.
Yeah, and I think we probably have to look over when we get to the end of the World Series and we look at the total buy-ins and that kind of thing is something that's going to be more relevant.
Yeah, the number of dollars
year over year
will be pretty high.
Yeah, exactly. Event 6 is the $111,000 one drop high roller. 130 entrants into this thing, forming a prize pool of over $13 million. First place, $3.7 million. The final table is going to go on later today, but I wanted to look.
I think it's actually probably starting about now.
Starting probably right about now.
Yeah.
Elke has a huge chip lead, which is pretty cool to see. Elke sitting on, I think, 17 million in chips. Second is Martin Jacobson with 9 million.
Who busted Helmuth at the last hand of the day. I think.
Yeah, he did. And Andrew Roble, Dog Pork in the mix. And the interesting one for me, though, and the most interesting man in poker is Geraldo Vilgaris. Bob is at the final table. He's the short stack, I think. But I was watching the Poker Go coverage last night, and he was on there just having a ball, and the table talk was fantastic. And I wanted to say,
everybody want to ask him about basketball all the time.
No, not really. He was just kind of beaking people nonstop.
He's
he's great at it.
Low key. I guess shit talker. What do you call it in hockey?
Trash talking.
A chirper.
Yeah. Loki. He's the king of chirps.
But he does it with a smile on his face, and he does it in a way that it makes it fun. Like he's not some people think he's offside or whatever, but I think it's fun to watch. But I wanted to yell at the commentators at the time, just stop talking for a second so we can listen to Bob chirp people. It's fun to watch. So he's like I think Rainer Kempe is one of the guys at the final table who's won the 300K. Sorry, the Super High Roller Bowl before. But Rainer's on the button. Bob's in the big blind. Rainer's pausing. He's looking at his cards. He's looking at his stack. He's looking at everybody. He's like this. He's taking his time. And Bob just hasn't looked at his cards. He's leaning like this, just chirping him like, yeah, look at your cards one more time. I think they'll change and all this kind of stuff. Like it's just so funny to watch.
It's so different from the intensity of a typical high roller.
Yeah, because he does not give a fuck, right? That's just whatever. It's not a big deal to him. He's just having fun. But he makes it fun, and that kind of thing is great for poker. I love seeing Bob at final tables or on TV to watch him do all this stuff.
He's done Bill Simmons again. He's appeared on a podcast. So
he's on Bill a lot. Him and Bill are pretty good buddies.
Maybe he'll make a Pokercast appearance.
I keep asking him, and he's like, I don't want to do poker podcasts and stuff, and it's just not something.
We don't need to talk about poker.
I know. Well, hopefully we'll track him down at one point.
He did Doug Poker. So you did Joe Ingram.
That was a year and
that was a while, yeah.
And after that one, I asked him, and
okay.
Maybe a couple months later, and he's like, "I'm retired from Poker Podcast for a year or something like that." He said, "Well, maybe when we're down at the World Series, we'll impose on him a little bit." But I also saw one of the quotes from this event, and it was Antonio taking a beat, saying, and his quote was, "Are you fucking kidding me? They do it to me every single time."
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, dude, are you?
I quoted this tweet on Twitter because whoever wrote this, WSOP.com doesn't. Poker News used to have the little tag that says which of their writers. It was like the screen name of the writer wrote it. But I'll do this one justice. And it's Scott Seaver against Antonio. Long story short, they get all in. Seaver has queens and Antonio has kings, so it's an obvious cooler. The board comes out Jack 9 8 10. So Seaver makes a queen high straight with this.
Okay.
He goes, "Are you?" Antonio said, well, he got up from the table in agony. Quote, "Yeah, so like you said, they do it to me every single time," end quote. The one-drop 2012 champion for over $18 million.
Whoever that writer is?
Yeah.
Crushed it. With that tag.
Because, I mean, it's so great because, like, as a poker writer, you're not allowed to just be like, what a whiny bitch.
Right.
You can't say
the
that.
way of saying
That's
it.
exactly what you do. You just said, yeah, end quote, the one-drop 2012 champion who won over $18 million.
Right.
Oh, drop mic. Shout outs to that reporter.
Yeah, you can't say that. Once you win 18 million in a poker tournament, you're not allowed to bitch. Well, you're like in the exact same tournament.
Yeah. Imagine if you're just like heads up and you call for your one time. It's like, wait.
Yeah, we can rewind that. I remember Joe Hashem whining all the time. After
Hashem was unfortunately like that a lot.
The worst about whining.
Whining about your luck. I mean, like, if you play professional poker for a living, nobody has any fucking sympathy for your bad beats.
Exactly.
You play poker for a living. If you're like a kindergarten teacher playing, whatever, your first World Series event, you get a little sympathy for me, like whatever. But no. If you play poker for a living or you've been doing it for a long time, you don't complain. I mean, you can get sympathy, but like sympathy is like a nickname, right? It's like only other people can give it to you, right? You can't, you're like you don't
ask for it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get to just call yourself the assassinator. Just, like somebody has to call you that. It's the same thing with sympathy. You just be like, oh, how'd you bust? Oh man, like I got it in kings against queens, and it comes Jack, 9, 10, 8. It's like, oh man, that's
Since
rough.
you asked, I'll tell you.
That's rough.
Yeah,
and that's about all you get. And you don't get to just accost the guys. He's taking a leak in the urinal.
Guess what?
No.
No, that doesn't happen.
Sorry.
Now,
I don't like Antonio.
Man,
So.
this dude just did this.
The one thing I'll say is we didn't witness the quote. It could have been with a smile on his face. He could have been joking at the time.
Could be.
If that's the case, I take
Could
it all
be.
back.
Could be.
But
because I like Antonio.
I like
think
Antonio
he's
a lot.
cool guy, but yeah, it's just, that's
that's hard to listen to for sure. Yeah, and hey, he's a fiery guy, whatever. But in the moment, don't make a habit of it, I guess is what we're saying.
That's true.
Like Joe Hashem made a habit of it. Joe Hashem. I don't like the guy. I've had interactions with him. After the main event, he was a dick to a lot of people, and it bothered me to see somebody who's supposed to be an ambassador be a dick a lot of the times to dealers, to whatever. But that was a pattern. Antonio is the nicest guy in the world when you meet him or when you interview him or on TV. Most of the time, he's fun to watch. And I can't ever see him being a pattern over a long period of time of doing stuff like that. So,
can I just tell you how bad I ran heads up in the fixed limit hold'em scoop?
No, you cannot. Okay. But did you win?
No, I didn't.
Where'd you finish?
Second. I ran terribly heads up. It's so unfair.
Oh,
I never win these fucking things.
Except for the 2 times that you did win them.
Yeah, 2009.
Oh yeah, ages ago.
Shit out.
All right, let's move on. Event 7, the $2,500 mixed triple draw lowball. I love this format. So I was sweating this on the World Series of Poker.com. 3 games that they played are a lot of fun. Deuce to 7 triple draw. Yeah. I'm sure you played a bunch and enjoy. Ace to 5 triple draw,
which I have played almost none of, but plays pretty similar.
Similar, right? I mean, there's a couple of concepts which would be different, not a ton. And Badoogie, which is a ton of fun.
Which is completely different from the other 2 draw games.
It is completely different and fun as well. So I thought this was a really cool mix, a really cool format. They got down to a final table yesterday. Jesse Martin and Chris Bjorn have chips. At the final table will be played later today. Barry Greenstein was the one I was sweating, though. I'm a huge Barry fan, have been for a long time. And I asked him yesterday if he'd be interested in coming on the show today. And he said, well, if I final table, I'll come on the show. Wow. If not, I've promised a bunch of people.
He just wanted you to cheer for him.
And well, yeah, he wanted me to send him the Pokercast Karma, which we tried. He when I
the series is still young. He can still
get it.
Come on, Barry.
We're good. When I talked to him, I think he was 16th out of 17, and he zoomed up to the chip lead after I texted with him. So I said, look, see what's happening. But he ended up busting in 9th, and he'd promised a bunch of people he was going golfing if he busted out. So hopefully we'll get him on when we get down to the World Series. Barry, great to see Barry down there and going deep in bets. I'm a big fan of Mr. Greenstein. Event 8 was the online. This is the first of 3 World Series of Poker bracelets they're going to be giving away on WSOP.com, strictly an online. Remember before, when you got to a final table, wherever you were in Nevada, because of course it's ring fence Nevada, they flew you into Vegas to play the final table.
Most of the time you drove, but
most of the time you drove.
In case you happen to live in Carson City,
you got flown in because it was like the next day or whatever. But they stopped doing that now. It's strictly an online event. This was a $333 buy-in called The Little Grind, which I don't know about that name, but whatever. The Little Grind was won by Joe Mitchell, who wins his first bracelet. And
it wasn't won by Mike Mizrachi's son, because that's what I would expect with a name like
Little Grind. Oh yeah, like this 7-year-old kid that he's got. He wins $122,000, which is pretty great for a $330 buy-in.
That's really impressive that they got 2,500 people to enter an online event, a ring fence
about Nevada.
Event. It's hard. Yeah, I mean, you've got to get people registering for the thing. People have questions. There's a bunch of people who still think to this day, like, what were you in year 4 of legalized online poker in Nevada, who think you have to have like a Nevada address, which you don't. You just have to be physically present in the state. You can be from Zimbabwe and play the thing. Most people still don't know that.
Still like a knowledge.
They don't know how to get money in. It's still hard to get money in through, they don't take PayPal. I don't think they do anyway. Most of the credit cards won't work. So, you got to go to the cage and deposit or something like that, or find an e-wallet that works for them. So yeah, 2,500 entrants. I don't know. Was it a re-entry? But
I would think it was.
If it's, mean, I don't think it's 25 individual entrants, but just the fact that they were able to get that much, and really smart idea from the WSOP running this early in the event, getting money into people's accounts, so that when they're sitting at home, they can play online and hopefully build up a little bit of that liquidity when you're just sitting on the couch and you're not playing a World Series event that day.
But it seems like the online events have gotten a lot of traction. That's a good number, like you said, $2,500 entry, or 2,500 entries. They've done this for a few years now. It's taken time to build to this point where people are comfortable jumping on WSOP if they're in Vegas for the World Series, I guess, jumping on and playing rather than maybe going sitting in a cash game, whatever, or playing in an event while you're playing.
Yeah, I was going to say simultaneous. Yeah, we had a lot of that. I mean, you weren't at the poker tables as much during Playground, but of course, at the Playground poker event, Scoop was running at the same time. Right. There were multiple people playing the Playground poker 5K and also playing Scoop on a tablet. Really, at the same time. Yeah, I was talking to Jason Kuhn. He was like, he had like 14 million chips on day 2 of the thing, but he was still playing in Scoop events on his iPad.
On his iPad, nice. Yeah. So something interesting happened in this Little Grind, the online events. When they got heads up. Second place finisher Mark Skasewater had internet issues, and he had a 10 million chip stack. And I'm not sure relative how that was to the other guy, but he went from and he had internet issues, he got kicked offline. When he came back, his $10 million stack was 1.5 million because the other player was getting the blinds.
85% of his stack.
Lost 85% of his stack, which got me to thinking, like, when we're playing for a bracelet. For the spirit of the game, I mean, I get it's an internet tournament.
Well, and what, $40,000 or whatever.
Fair amount of money.
Split between first and second,
yeah. I mean, I get that, when you play one of these, internet tournaments, that you're taking, the part of it is you need to have good internet, and it's your responsibility to have a backup connection. Have a backup connection, do all that. But I wonder if at a final table of a bracelet event, if somebody's timed out, and maybe a final table is not the right, because if we're going to be making.
You're going to make 7 people wait for one. Yeah.
Is that realistic? But if you're heads up, it seems like the tournament should be paused.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if you think about what PokerStars does in this situation, I mean, they will basically give a long time to reconnect. They don't care that 7 people have to wait for one. They will do it for a while. They'll say
give the guy 5 minutes.
It's an algorithm based on how deep they are in the tournament. I don't exactly know.
Oh, really?
Somebody from PokerStars can probably tell me a bit better. But yeah, I've seen people I've seen 300-second being added to people who are disconnected being given time, and then when that finally runs out, then he gets blinded off. I mean, I think that's totally fair. And like you said, I think when it's heads up, you could say stop the event for 5 minutes. I mean, say we're going to give a guy 5 minutes to return. If he doesn't return in 5 minutes, then you can blind him off. But I mean, I think they should. Whether they have the software capability to run that, I mean, the WSOP.com software is not very good. But if they have somebody watching this tournament, which they should, because it's a prestige tournament for WSOP.com, and if they have the ability to stop it and say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, they definitely got to do that.
Yeah. So what if you're in that situation? What do you do? So let's say you're Joe and you both have a $10 million stack or 10 million chip stack, and the other guy gets disconnected. What are you going to do? Do you sit up?
I mean, I think if WSOP has established that they're not going to do anything, and I'd like to hear something from them, then I think you just take the guy's chips.
You have to.
It feels awful
because he's going to do it to you.
Yeah, I mean, or somebody else is going to do it to you in the future. There's really no guarantee that this karma is going to be paid forward.
That's true.
I mean, I don't know.
It's a tough spot, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd do if
it's funny because when you sit down at the day 1 of a table or something like that, and there's 3 guys that are missing, nobody has any problem stealing their blinds. I mean, it's obvious, but
that's his choice to not show up.
Yeah, these situations are different. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, interesting. All right, shall we take a break there and come back with we'll talk about the Super High Roller Bowl, bunch of stuff going on there to talk about, and then get into the email bag.
We got some sheep game.
We got some sheep. Yeah. Why don't we do that now?
Okay.
Let's call it. Xander ready to go? Xander Biscuits is the newest mod at the Pokercast forum.
Been around the Pokercast forum forever.
He's
probably longer than me.
He's a longtime listener to the show.
Frequent contributor.
Yeah, he's been awesome in run stuff. He's running the World Series of Poker Fantasy League this year.
Are you in?
I am in. Are you in?
No, me neither.
You guys are the lame. What's wrong with you two?
I couldn't. Okay, so for
$20.
We talked about this before. I don't care, but I would like. It's the principle.
You can't
for me.
lose ever, can you?
And I don't have the time. I'm busy with a lot of shit right now, and I don't have the time to research. And I want anything I enter, like I have to do it right.
If it was 20 cents, you wouldn't have done it.
Exactly. Like it was like free. I wouldn't have done it. You had to hassle me to even get in the sheep game. You had to hassle me to get in a sheep game. I still had to spend like half an hour doing that because half an hour. Because if I'm gonna enter the fantasy league, I want to know who's playing a full schedule. Like I want to know who's playing big buy-in events. I want to know what it costs. I'm gonna draw. There's gonna be spreadsheets involved, and I'm just like I can't do it, and I also can't half-ass it. I can't half-ass things.
True.
Ross, what's your excuse? I know that's not your excuse.
Yeah, I don't need to have as big of an edge as Terrence, but I don't know.
I'll look, to be honest, I'll be 100% honest. You guys didn't make it into the fantasy league. One of our listeners picked the majority of my team. So I was okay. I had to get the dead.
Now the truth comes out. I would have probably done that actually. I would have been happy with to completely outsource it.
Yeah, and to some degree that was well. So I'm at the Savage Invitational, so I have access to a bunch of people who are going to be playing in the terms or have knowledge. Some of these guys are in the 25K. Turbo Nguyen, who's got a team in the 25K fantasy league, is there. I'm talking, so they've got all the inside information, right? And I'm asking them questions, and they're, well, are you going to be in the 25K? And I'm like, no, I have a $20 fantasy league I'm in. Can you share some of your info with me? And one of the guys I got a ride from Phoenix, or the guy I got a ride from Phoenix to LA with, is a guy named Craig Chait, who you talked about last week, tried the McNugget Challenge. Great guy. He's playing a bunch of events. He has got a lot of knowledge. So I'm listening to him. I'm taking notes on my phone. And Pete Blow, one of the listeners to the show from the UK, he sent me his $20 on Stars because he couldn't get PayPal or something. So I was going to pay for him, and I needed to put a team in. So I just sent Pete a bunch of the picks, and I'm like, dude, I'm in a car driving to LA. Could you please parse through some of these with salaries and figure out and plug and play a couple? So I picked some of them, but I think Pete threw a couple in as well. So full disclosure, I kind of put a team in. So
at least your name's in there. But even though I'm not in the actual contest, I would like to try and update on the show. Who's doing well.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's keep with Xander. Is Xander ready to go?
He is. I will call him.
Awesome.
Right now. Xander.
Hello.
Hey there.
Xander, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Live from Birmingham. Did I say it right this time? Birmingham.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, we got it this time. Good. Thanks so much, Xander, for joining us. Thanks so much for running the World Series of Poker Fantasy League. We were just talking about that right now. The fact that I have a team and these two deadbeats don't have a team, and also the sheep game. This is a lot of fun. So
I made it, and I stuck it into the deadline on the sheep game.
You got the sheep game, and Ross got his sheep game in. Get your answers up, boys, because we're going to be having a contest right now.
I'm ready.
But to explain the sheep game to people, let's just quickly, because a lot of people don't know what this is. If you've been on 2+2 for a long time, there's a forum called Puzzles and Other Games.
Yeah.
And they run sheep, they run peas, which is the backward sheep. But basically, it's a series of questions in sheep game where you want to answer the most popular answer. You get points for, let's say there's 10 questions. And there's 50 people in there. If all 50 people answer the same answer for question number 1, you get 50 points. So the person with the most points at the end of the questions end up winning. You can research. So some of these questions are, you can look up. They were tough, yeah. So you can look up who won whatever.
But you're still trying to guess the most popular answer.
Wager our $20 on this.
I feel good about this.
Wait, we all feel good. I got $20 right here.
I'm in for 20
Canadian on the dot. Here we go. So we got a little gamble going. So no duplicates. So there was 10 questions. You could not answer the same person twice. The answers don't have to be correct. So if you answered a main event winner that didn't answer, it doesn't matter.
Didn't actually win the main event. Yeah.
And you had to send your answers to Xander, who put this all together. Xander, how many people actually entered the sheep game?
47 people entered it.
47 people answered the 10 questions. That's fantastic. Do you have a winner? Do you know the winner already?
I do.
Is he on this show?
You'll have to wait and see.
No spoiler. Xander,
We're 3 out of 47. I mean, I think we did pretty. I would take like 6 to 1 that one of us.
one of us.
Yeah.
6 to 1.
6 to 1, and that's an overlay. I think so. I think we're good at this. I think the 3 of us. The winner might be in this room.
Did you lose me? Oh, you got me back. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
we got you back.
Okay. So Xander, how do you want to do this? Do you want to go through the 10 questions and read them out, and then we read our answer? What's your thought on how this reveal should happen?
Yeah, so if I read out the question, then say your name, you say your answer. I'll tell you how many points it's worth.
Okay. Perfect.
And
Let's do that.
go through the questions like that.
Okay. The first question. Yeah.
Well,
you
let him read it.
Yeah, you read them, Xander. You go.
Okay. So name someone who won the main event more than once. So Adam.
Adam answered Mr. Stu Unger.
So that was worth 10 points.
What? That's it?
Yep.
Oh my
That's
God. Terrence.
Okay.
Ross.
Oh, Ross, go ahead.
Doyle.
Doyle.
Doyle worth 23 points.
Oh.
And
Crushed.
I am going to share those 23 points.
Damn it.
I also answered Doyle. Come on. Doyle over Stu.
Wow.
In the year 2017, come on, Adam.
Stu won it like recently, like the most recent than Doyle.
97 is not recent.
For more than Doyle.
Well,
Being alive helps,
Doyle's
I think, in the
most
cheap game.
popular answer. Then it was Johnny Chan.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's good
What?
call. The rounders effect, of course.
Wow.
So Johnny, Stu, what are the other answers?
Yeah, it's Doyle, then Johnny, then Stu. They're the top 3 answers.
Okay.
Then there's a couple of.
Was there any really
Helmuth.
dumb? Was there any dumb answers?
Someone, let me just get them up. So someone put Chris Moneymaker and someone put Helmuth.
All right.
But I think Helmuth's technically correct because he won once in Europe as well.
Ooh,
Oh,
very
that's
nice.
right.
All right, but it doesn't matter, of course. All right, question number 2.
Yeah, so name a winner of either the 50k PPC or the 1-drop high roller. So Adam.
Okay, I'm going first. I selected Antonio Esfandiari.
That's good for 24 points.
24.
That's a ding.
Yeah. Ross.
I was torn, but I thought maybe the more popular answer would be Dan Coleman.
That was worth 4 points.
Yeah. Crushed.
And guess who's in the lead? Because I also have Antonio Esfandiari.
Oh,
Guess
no.
who's in the lead for this $60?
Can I prepay now? Like, just take my 20.
No, you don't get the
It's over.
All right, I got all the points.
All right.
Yeah. The top answer there was Antonio Esfandiari. Then it was Michael Mizrachi. Then Chip Reese.
Oh, I almost
then-
went Chip Reese. I thought about Chip Reese.
Oh
for a
my
moment.
God.
I figured 2.
How is Dan Coleman not the?
Roscoe got crushed.
Wow.
All right. Question number 3, Xander.
Yeah. So name someone who's part of the first ever November 9 but didn't win.
I selected Dennis Phillips.
28 points.
Yes.
Is that the number 1 answer?
Boom.
Yep, that's the number 1 answer.
All right.
I went with the questionable David Chino Ream.
Oh, Chino.
I feel like Chino is probably the second best answer, but I too have
No!
Dennis Phillips. No, you can't
Gosh,
beat
me.
me at this. You can't beat
I'd like
me.
to cash out. The live line is the live line.
Terrence is like minus 300
Yeah.
at this point. Yeah.
I'm not that far ahead.
What were some
I'm
of the,
basically one big question ahead of you.
were there any bad answers for that one?
So I was I'd like to
Yes,
say
someone said Ivy.
Oh,
I was
wrong year.
actually gonna deliberately answer Ivy wrong because I thought that would be popular.
Second level
Um,
stuff.
The second most popular answer was Ivan Demidov.
Devinov, sure, finished second.
Because
Wow.
I think there's a bunch of people who, if they have no clue, they're just going to Google it.
That's the
And then
second
when
place.
they Google it,
Makes
they'll find
sense.
out who came second.
All right, but the truck horn. You.
All right, Terrence with a good sized lead at this point. I'm in second. Roscoe far behind.
Bringing up
in
the
third.
rear.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Number 4, Xander.
Yep. So name someone who has won multiple WSOP bracelets in the same year.
I selected Philip No Home Jerome Ivy.
20 points.
20 points. Roscoe?
I went with the most recent to do it, which was Jason Mercier.
Oh, good one.
13 points.
Ah, no Ivy. Ross.
And I continue to copy Adam.
No!
You
You
just
saw
can't
my
catch
answers.
Me. You can't catch me.
You
Philip
got access
Ivey.
to my
Yeah.
account.
So yeah, Ivy was the most popular one there. Then Jason Mercier. Then Phil Hellmuth.
Okay.
Nice.
Good.
And then a few people went for Benny Glazer because he posts in Pog, so some people know him.
Good.
No Jeff Madsen in there.
Yeah.
Do we have a running total of how we're doing?
I've got some scores after the next question, so halfway.
Okay, let's do that. Question number.
People in general are really afraid of me.
Question number 5 of 10. Xander, go for it.
So name someone who's won a WSOP E bracelet.
This is a World Series of Poker Europe bracelet. I went with the crybaby himself, Mr. Phil Hellmuth.
That's worth 19 points.
19 points. Roscoe.
I just went with the first Google result, which is Kevin McPhee.
Yeah, 2 other people did that, so you got 3 points.
You got 3 points. All right. Roscoe getting crushed.
All right, Adam, this is your chance to catch up. My answer does not copy
It differs.
yours, but I think I'm still okay with it.
Would you bet higher than Phil Hellmuth's 19 points, or
I don't know if I go. I don't know if I like 19's a tough number, but I still like it. And if I'm behind, I'm not too far behind.
Okay.
I am gonna go
Granu.
Annette 18.
Oh.
Oberstad.
I think it's lower than 19 points.
So 19.
Oh!
So I managed not to copy you, but still get the same result. That feels even better. Feels even better.
So tilting. Oh my God. All right.
Yeah.
So what's the running total, Xander?
So after that, so overall from the whole 47 people, Terrence is first.
What?
But
Well, yeah.
he's got every single number one answer. So
I've been perfect so far.
So
I
he's
can't have
tied for
actually
first.
done better.
He might be tied for first.
tied first with 2 other people. So Bowl Me 1 and Birds the Words. If
All
they,
right.
They're listening.
And Adam's 9th overall with 101 points.
Respectable.
So 13
Respectable. 9th out of 47. That's
And-
okay.
Ross is got 49 points, as in 42nd place.
I thought we were scoring this like golf.
All right, let's continue.
This is birdie.
Oh, okay, good. All right, question number 6.
Ooh, this is a tough one. I like this one.
So, name a controversial inductee into the WSOP Poker Hall of Fame.
I hope I got the different one than Terrence here. I went with Tom McAvoy.
For 4 points.
What?
Oh no!
Oh no!
I hope I'm different too.
I went with
A superb choice.
Yeah, so Todd Brunson, 15 points.
15 points.
And I
Yeah.
agree with Ross that is a superb choice.
Jesus, I'm crushed. So
Yeah,
far behind.
Todd Brunson was first.
Does
with
it sound
15
like?
points.
Oh, it was first. Okay, he was first place. So this was a good question because you had a lot of.
Yeah.
It sounds like you had a lot of different.
Yeah, what were
answers.
some of the other answers
Lots
then?
of different answers. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 17 different answers for this one.
Give us the top 5.
So top one's Todd Brunson, then Amarillo Slim,
Yeah, I thought about
Then,
Emerald Slim for a while.
and then joint 4th is Tom McAvoy and Carlos Mortensen.
Wow. I almost went Sailor Roberts just because
Yeah,
I thought it was that,
the
but
Doyle
Todd
thing.
Bronson seemed
2
more.
people went
seemed
for
like
Sailor Robert.
I went for the more obvious form of nepotism and favoritism.
What am I thinking? I shouldn't have bet money on this. Okay, this is question number 7.
Yeah. So name a mostly forgotten WSOP main event.
This will be
champion.
this will be different too. I think. This is
Oh,
a
really?
tough one. I think there's so many. You're taking the entire pool of non-popular main event champions. So by definition, I think there's going to
Sure.
be a lot of results.
I picked Robert Varconi.
which is good for 16 points.
Oh, is that the number 1 answer?
That's the number 1 answer.
Yes.
Fuck. I went with
Not Robert Varconi, apparently.
I went with the most recent one, who I feel like is the most forgotten, P.S. Hines.
Oh, that's a good one.
The 3rd best answer for
Alright.
4 points.
Solid. And my choice for this one was Robert Varconi.
No, you slow rolling bastard! Oh my God.
Harris is so happy.
Yeah, this is so good. What were some of the other answers, Xander?
So 5 people went for Hal Fowler. You got Bill Smith, Jamie Gold, Jerry Yang, Manso Matlubi.
Wow.
Some people went for Win as well.
All right, let's go. I think I'm dead in the water. I think I'm drawing dead at this point. Number 8.
So, name a celebrity that you might see at the WSOP this year.
How many entries again? 50 what?
47.
47. I think there's going to be
40 that
the
picked
number
this guy.
one. The number one answer is going to be 47 points.
Yeah, it might not be. It'll be over 40. I think.
I think Kevin Hart.
16 points.
That's it.
Oh wow!
Wow. I would have.
Yeah, I
Oh,
didn't
that
even
is
think
the
about.
one answer.
Is it?
It's
Yeah.
not the number one answer.
It is.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought the number one answer would be Aaron Paul.
1 point.
And that would be
Basically,
you.
you answered that.
Yeah, I'm not even going to bother slow rolling you this one. I took
You
Kevin
are,
off.
Kevin,
I'm going to save my slow roll for another one if I can get you.
I thought it was Aaron Paul or
Sonny Erda.
James Woods.
James Woods. Yeah.
James was third best.
And some of the others.
Do you want to guess some of the others?
Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who else. Oh, Kevin Pollak.
Oh, nobody said that, but
Don-
the second best one was Ray Romano.
Oh, of course.
Don
That's-
Cheadle?
Yeah. Good.
No,
Don
John
Cheadle.
Cheadle is
No,
Matt Damon, Tobey Maguire, people like that.
Oh yeah, Tobey Maguire, but he won't go.
All right, question number 9.
I feel like we all answered this one the same way.
Maybe.
I think that's probably.
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Okay. Question 9.
Name someone that's either won the seniors event or the ladies event at the WSOP.
I went with the aforementioned Jennifer Tilly.
52 points.
Wow.
Big answer.
Hopefully
Oh.
T didn't get Jennifer
Big
Tilly.
answer.
Number 1, clearly, obviously,
I went
Roscoe.
with, Dan Heimiller.
Did not.
Wow, I'm surprised. Like that's not a good guess. I mean, that's not a good guess, but I think you deserve more than 1 for that.
This is not peas. This is sheep. You seem to be thinking this was
I don't
peas.
know. I thought that these were good answers.
I also selected one, Jennifer
No.
Ellen Tilly.
Drawing dead, no.
By the way, Jennifer Tilly's main original name, Chan.
Yeah, she's from Vancouver.
She's from Vancouver.
She's
so
from Mission,
me,
BC.
Me,
actually.
me and her are we're
We're
kin.
kindred
We're
spirits.
kin.
Indeed.
We're family.
All right, I guess I'm dead. Here's the $20. Whatever.
Well, we still got one more. This one.
No,
I think
there's
this
not
one,
a disparity for me.
that's a good point. Yeah, there's not going to be a 30-point answer on this one. But Xander, go question of 10.
So, who do you think will win the WSOP main event this year?
I went with not the person. Again, this is a sheep game, so you're trying to pick the name that everybody picks. So it's not necessarily who you think is going to win. It's who you think everybody else
who's
thinks is gonna win.
popular, who's hot.
So
whatever.
I took Daniel Negreanu.
10 points. The
10
second
points,
best
solid.
answer.
Oh,
Second
okay.
best. Okay.
I went with somebody that everybody who listens to the show knows
Yes.
and is pretty much guaranteed to play every year. And
Terrence
will
Chad?
maybe forgive my $20 or give me back my $20 if he wins. If he wins the main
Free
event.
roll you in this bet?
That was
Ugh.
Terrence.
Chad.
Terrence, yeah.
How many picked Terrence? 1.
Xander, I'd like you to actually confirm that he actually wrote my name there.
He did, yeah, and he spelled it right as well.
So,
Well, that's worth a lot. That might be worth $20 right there.
before we go on to crowning Mr. T. Chan here, did Ross indeed finish 47 out of 47 players?
No, there are 2 people that finished behind him.
So you didn't even get the golf. You didn't even win the golf championship.
This is pretty standard.
So I've got a shot at winning the first overall, depending if.
This
So
is
which non-number 1 have I gotten?
I got Negreanu for 10.
Oh yeah. So okay. But
Oh, which one didn't you get?
yeah, which have is
There was a non-number 1 that you didn't get.
have I?
No, you've had number 1s all the way.
I'm
through
perfect
so far.
through 9 questions.
Oh, are you? Really?
I am perfect through 9
Wow.
questions. So if the most popular guess for the World Series main event this year
Was not Daniel Negreanu.
is if it's Fedor Holtz, then I think I'm making this thing
no
now.
chance.
Yep, it's Fedor Holtz.
Oh, perfect! 10 for 10.
Aces.
10 for
He
10.
just
Bastard.
bowled a perfect game.
Oh,
Wow. Where's the?
So-
You guys didn't want me in the fantasy
Overall-
league. You guys didn't want me in the fantasy league.
okay. Did you win it outright, or did somebody else go?
How could
7-10?
Oh yeah.
Did win it outright.
That's good. I
Oh.
like that a lot.
He did
The
win it
only
outright.
person that got 10 for 10.
Oh
And,
boy. I get to keep my
a
job.
poster called C. Mitch came second.
Okay.
And third overall, Adam Schwartz.
Wow. Hey, attaboy.
That's okay. I'll take that.
Attaboy.
I lost the money.
Just did this.
I lost the most for finishing third.
Yeah, you definitely. It was like the progressive knockout from on Poker Stars.
That was
finished third and made no money and
made
lost
zero
money.
cash. So we had first, third, and 45th.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, we got the right guys who do the talking on the show and the right guys who press the
Who
buttons.
produce?
We're going to detail you about this for a while. Just get used to it.
Okay, Xander, this was a ton of fun. Can we do a reverse sheep or a peas maybe at some point during the series, and we could do this again?
I'll probably get 47th in that too.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. If you want to put the questions together, throw it up in the forum. We'll direct people over to the Pokercast forum. Head on over to the 2plus2.com forums. Go to the Pokercast forum. Xander is going to throw a bunch of questions together for a reverse sheet, so which you will want to pick the most unique answers rather than the most popular answers. That'll be a lot of fun, a little more strategy maybe too as well. We'll do that later in the World Series of Poker. Xander, thanks so much for all you do for the show. Really appreciate it. Well, thank you for becoming our newest mod as well.
No problem. Thanks a lot for having me on the show.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
That was Mr. Xander Biscuits.
That was
fun.
You're gonna
Go fuck yourself.
You're gonna be hearing this for a while. You can tell me to fuck myself for a while, but I'm feeling pretty good right now.
I guess
I'm a man of the people. This is a game that measures your ability to
get
in the head of people, and
I think I got 9 out of 10, and I
poker's
feel
a
like I got
people game.
crushed.
Poker's a people game.
So I didn't get that either.
I have a question about the peas game.
Yes.
Is the goal to just get 1 point for every answer? Because
Race.
anybody
It's
can
called
do
getting
that.
ace.
Because you're allowed to say whatever you want.
They have to be correct.
So they have
For
to.
peas, it has to be a valid
They have
answer.
to be
Oh,
a
okay.
valid
Because I was
answer.
going to say you can just name like different types of food for every
Right.
answer.
So if it's
No.
a main event,
Who are
the
3
main
people?
event-
It's the old Cheers joke. Who are 3 people who've never been in my kitchen?
Yeah, that's definitely a second level strategy thing. Because if you think about, say, all the main event winners, we were able to identify forgotten main event champions. But now you have to think, will other
Which
people
one?
think that's
Right.
Jamie Gold? Exactly. Well, will other people think that or you could just go Helmuth, because nobody would pick Helmuth because he's so well known.
Several people will think that way.
Exactly.
The same
So
things.
A lot of meta going
It's
on.
a good game.
Some
We
fun.
should do that again.
All right, you're listening to the 2plus2 Pokercast. We're going to come back with emails and talk about the Super High Roller Bowl, presented by Run It One Stocks. All right, let's jump into it.
It's just going to load. It says there's 11 viewers. Nobody's been typing in the chat.
No, well,
It'll be on
it's
our
going
YouTube
to take a while
channel later,
to
then.
lot of people that just
pick up the stream. Nobody expects us to be doing this.
People are just going to leave the window open. That was fun. Yeah. Especially because I won.
Winning is fun.
When I was starting
You would've told me I would've been
third,
You would have
at
been
a
happy.
47, I would have bet everything in my pocket.
I think Xander should have randomized the way that we.
He should have said somebody won, somebody finished third, somebody finished 45th.
Well, but then you would have known.
Oh, yeah.
You would have known by the end that you were going to beat me.
Not true.
Yeah, you could have gotten number one on the final question.
Yeah.
Well, once you got your second one wrong, you was going to be in trouble. Yeah. I thought I was pretty happy with that. They had like 8 of them at the store. I should have just bought you in front one. Because I sat there looking at 3 of them. I'm like, this one. But it's funny because it would be hard to find. Like, you'd have to order it online. Yeah.
You could find all the, like I have a Kansas City Scout shirt.
Colorado hockey. I like to say I went to Quebec.
You actually got it from the source.
I want an Expos. You could have got that.
Yeah, I should have.
You could have easily gotten that. Serious?
Yeah.
You want to do that or? No.
So no to the seawall?
No, I just.
Ton of stuff. You have actual responsibility now.
Can't get ready to go.
Remember this one?
Get our producer back here, and we'll fire up this third segment. I want to make sure we didn't read any of these emails last week.
I am sure. I looked at it.
You did? Okay. Oh, we got 140 or less. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I left a couple of them on purpose. Like the Bruce Buffer one, I knew because you already did interview him, so you'd want to mention that. And then I left a couple of Strat ones because I just wanted to leave them.
Sure.
So 140 or less. Oh, wait,
do the Super High Roller Bowl.
Talk about the Super High Roller Bowl, yeah.
No word back from man.
Nope.
Okay. Ready to go? Mm-hmm. Welcome back to the 2+2 Pokercast, presented by RunItOnce.com. All right, finish off in case you missed it. The Super High Roller Bowl that we've been talking about for weeks on the show went off, and Christoph Vogelsang from Germany beat out 55 other people and takes down the $6 million first prize and the $300,000 buy-in.
The Germans.
Yeah, these are Germans. I wanted to talk about a couple of things in this. First,
he's the most German-looking German.
He's pretty German dude for sure. There's he's German.
He's the most German.
Okay.
He's the scarf and the circular glasses. Yeah.
Well, first let's talk about the bit of controversy that happened, and this went on, I believe, down to a couple of tables. Leon Sukernik, who owns the King's Casino in Rozvadov, big contributor to poker now. I mean, this guy is a big figure in poker.
Yep.
There's a lot of events and a lot of stuff happening at this casino in Europe, and he seems like a guy. They call him Loose Leon. He's jumping into games, playing a lot of high rollers, and playing a lot of cash games, and injecting and bringing a lot of good things to poker. And he played in the $300,000 buy-in with his own money, as he says. And so what happens, and from what I can gather, and there's still sort of reports out there, not 100% sure, there was some controversy between himself and Justin Bonomo, and a little bit with Jason Kuhn. Apparently one of Leon's friends was walking around the table in an area maybe he shouldn't have been walking, and he walked behind Jason, and Jason was, not too comfortable with the fact it's one of Leon's friends.
Somebody's behind him in a $300,000 buy-in tournament.
Which is fair enough, and I don't think Leon was upset with Jason and even said that he really likes Jason, thinks he's a great guy, but he said, look, this guy's not cheating or looking at your cards or signaling me or anything. Come on, you wouldn't do that kind of thing. But understandably, Jason's kind of like, well, what's going on? Well, why is this guy here? Whatever. Justin Bonomo was also at the table, and from what I can gather, and I haven't been able to talk to him, we tried to get him on the show today. That didn't happen. So we're just kind of trying to put together pieces of what happened. But apparently there was some assertions that this is a PokerGo table. It's a live stream. There's RFID chips in the cards. Leon owns and operates the King's Casino, where they host poker tournaments on television that have RFID technology. And maybe somebody made a suggestion, I don't know if it was Justin or who it was, that Leon's at this table and he maybe has access to the cards, or that maybe he can crack the RFID or whatever. Seems like a statement made out of ignorance in how very difficult that would be to do. And
I mean, I don't think technologically it would be difficult. I mean,
right, but you got to look at the guy. I mean, is this the guy who's really going to be?
I don't think anybody should be accused without any kind of
evidence, right? And then
if that's what happened.
So Leon didn't take that very well, understandably, given that he's his reputation is what it is in poker, and he said some things about Justin, calling him a scandal person. The way he behaves is unacceptable. I don't think he should be allowed to play in these tournaments. He said something to Justin. He said, "You're here to win somebody else's money. So you're here to win somebody else's money. I'm here to have fun while playing on my own money, basically. So there was some shots fired. I'll do the drop for Oscar there. The shots fired drop should be going hard, but there was
Shots fired.
he definitely took some shots at Justin. And we tried to have Justin on to get his side. I wanted to hear exactly what his take was on it. Maybe we can do that later if he'd still be interested in coming on. But it just seemed like this is a bunch of pros playing in a tournament without 100% on themselves, kind of making I forgot to say the most important part. What happens is, because they feel, or maybe they felt that there was some problem with the RFID technology, they stopped showing their cards. And Leon is showing his cards every hand. Yeah. Meanwhile, Justin and others aren't.
I mean, that's
because they're afraid.
Well, Justin issued a statement saying that that he was showing his cards and that everybody that he was aware of the table. He said this in a statement that I think he provided to Sarah Herring. That he and everybody else that he is aware of was showing cards to the camera, and that there was no issue.
So Leon, one of the reasons, and the reason he said I don't think they should be allowed to play in the tournament is because he felt they weren't showing their cards.
Yeah.
It's a televised tournament. You're paying zero rake. You're here.
Right.
Everybody else is showing their cards. You knew what you were getting into when you got here.
I think that's totally fair. You shouldn't hide the cards after you've already agreed to hide the cards.
At this point, you can't.
But Justin is saying that, as far as he knows, he showed the cards every hand, and so did everybody else.
Okay, Leon felt differently, clearly, and it was uncomfortable because here's a guy who's done a lot for poker. Admittedly, I don't know anything about the guy, other than he's, hosting all these tournaments and doing great things with the Rozvadov Casino, and seems like he's splashing money around and in the economy. But he's feeling pretty uncomfortable about being in this tournament situation. And whereas these guys should be and again, don't know the whole story, but you feel like they should be going out of their way to make this guy comfortable. Meanwhile, it's the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we don't have enough information to make that. I'm not comfortable making that judgment without knowing. I mean, I don't know anything about the guy either, but I have no reason to accuse him or say he's done anything bad. But yeah, I mean, you should always make people comfortable when they play at the poker table in general, especially when it's a pro-heavy field and you have a clear non-pro in the tournament.
Right. Okay, so getting onto the final table, Christoph Vogelsang ends up taking it down. The final hand with Jake Schindler, who he got heads up with, was, I thought, pretty interesting. Schindler's on the button, and I don't know the stack depth exactly. Schindler's on the button, and he limps with the Jack-8 of hearts. And, Christoph Vogelsang checks in the big blind with the 10-7 offsuit. The flop comes 10-3 deuce, and Schindler, after being checked to, bets 100,000. Vogelsang calls with top pair. The turn is the 7 of hearts, so it's now 10-3 deuce with the 3 of hearts. The turn's the 7 of hearts, giving Schindler both a gut shot and a flush draw. And Schindler bets 400,000. Of course, Vogelsang now makes 2 pair on the turn, makes a big hand, and he raises to 1.5 million from the 400,000 bet. Schindler makes the call. The river pairs the bottom card, deuce. Pretty much a blank. Vogelsang bets 2.3 million. And Schindler now turns his hand into a bluff and shoves over the 2.3 million bet for 6.2 million all in. I want to get your take on turning your hand into a bluff in that spot.
He doesn't have a hand. He has Jack high.
He has bluff raising, but he has Jack. Yeah, bluff raising on the river, turning this hand into a bluff or turning this misdraw into a bluff on the river. When that specific card rolls off, I thought that was a really bad card to turn his hand into a bluff. He's basically got to be up against another busted heart draw, it seems like, to win this pot, like a king high flush draw or something, or queen high flush draw that now can fold, because tens are kind of going to call. Like, I don't know that he's going to lay down.
Well, I think the thought process going in, and I'm certainly no Jake Schindler, but
no, for sure.
The thought process on this might be that Vogelsang is not going to check raise with a 10 on the turn. So he's played this. If he's playing this hand, and he's very then he's very polarized here, and it's very unlikely. We know he doesn't have an overpair because he just checked his option pre-flop.
He doesn't have an ace high flush draw because he raises pre.
Yeah, exactly.
Likely a king high flush draw. Most king highs he's going to raise pre. So it's like queen high flush draw that he's getting to fold.
Yeah. I mean, there could be some small suited kings and stuff like that. And there could be just okay, we're beating 5-4 anyway, but you really want to call with jack high here.
Right.
There could be other hands that Vogelsang would be semi bluff check raising on the turn. I mean, I'm not sure what. I mean, Schindler beats all the straight draws anyway, so it's kind of so it's kind of like, well, you don't have to actually bluff raise all in there, but still calling with jack high is kind of gross. So I mean, it's probably bigger flush draws, and maybe even the idea that maybe he played a pair and a draw in a weird manner. I mean,
so the thing that jumped at me, and again,
so it could be not just by the way, queen and king high flush draws. It could also be something like the 5 deuce of hearts, or not 5 deuce of hearts because the deuce pairs on the end. But I guess I guess when you think about it, it's right. There's not a lot of hands that Christoph can have there that you can gain by bluff raising.
It just seemed to me, and again, like you say, I'm no Jake Schindler or anything. I'm just trying to look at a hand and feel like, what would I do in the spot? It seems like the turn when he picks up the combo draw is the place to bomb when he gets check raised for me, instead of waiting for the river and closing his eyes and shoving his chips in.
Maybe, but I mean, there's the possibility that maybe he just wants to, he can catch a jack on the end. But I mean, I think it's okay to 3-bet jam there.
He's never dead. That's my point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, I don't know. Again, these guys are fantastic.
I think folding is. I think actually. I mean, the thing is, when you get check raised on the turn at what looks to be the stack depth, almost always when you 3-bet shove, like, people are going to call you because they have enough to call you with. So I think the reason. I think the play is probably to call the turn and just fold the river to a bet.
And the 10-7-3 deuce really hits a big blind checking raise in that spot, right? So it feels like he's going to have two pairs. He's going to have a lot of hands in that spot. So interesting final hand anyway. So Christoph Vogelsang, of course, taking it down, winning the big dough. All right, why don't we move? One quick note. I don't know if you guys saw this, and I had a hard time finding details on it, but the Sunday Million, I believe, was abandoned yesterday for technical reasons.
I didn't catch that.
I had a friend of mine who was in it. Shout out Neil Davey. He was playing, and he sent me a message. He's like, "This tournament is stalling nonstop. We're in the money. It doesn't happen."
So and then, still covering some server troubles. Of course, a few weeks ago we had some Scoop events canceled.
Right.
Probably because of hackers.
DDoS or is it?
I mean, maybe it seemed to be when that virus was going around.
Right.
The Nevercry virus was affecting everything, and I wonder if this is residual from that, or if it's a new attack. But
again, don't know a lot of details. But that's what one of my friends who played in it cashed, and he ended up getting chip equity or something.
Wow.
I think he got over $3,000 or something. So he was pissed because he was going to win it, and $3,000 I don't think changes his life. But he's just a casual guy who loves to play tournaments and had a big stack, I think, in the Sunday Million. But anyways, maybe we'll hear more about that in the coming week. Let's get on to 140 or less.
So 140 characters, that's it. I love hashtags. I love all of them.
Terrence Chan?
He needs more than 140 characters to express himself.
140 or less.
All right, I've got a trio of Colossus tweets.
Oh, good.
The Colossus is the best source of tweets because you've got everybody playing it. You've got elite professional poker players. You've got the
mixing
guy
with the casual guys who end up pissing them off.
The truck driver. Well, I mean, pissing them off. I mean, they should realize that those guys are paying the rent money at this time. But the fact is, you cram 19,000 or so. Well, I guess you're not 19,000 bodies, but about 3,000 bodies into the same room, and some funny stuff happens in a $500 buy-in tournament filled with elite pros and also recreational players who don't know a lot of stuff. So Sublime Joseph Chong leads off this trio of tweets and says, "Why should you play the Colossus, you might ask? Well, a guy just called off 100 big blinds on a 9-5 deuce flop with 8-6 off in level 1. So there's that."
Wow.
There was some speculation that it was Joe himself.
Joe would put in the 100 big blinds.
He would put in.
I'm not sure he would call it off, but yeah.
Longtime Burger Pro wrote, opinion, WSOP Colossus is the softest 5K event of the year. I like that.
Because you're playing multiple entries.
$500 at a time. But But I think you could actually, I don't know if you can re-enter on in an individual flight. So you might be able to make it into 5K. But yeah, a lot of people doing that. I saw one tweet that I forgot to put in here, but one guy said that he was playing in the first level and 3 guys busted in one orbit. Wow. But my favorite, I think, of all the Colossus tweets that I've seen is at Dace, who writes, guy next to me in the Colossus told me his wife said that if he didn't make day 2, he was never allowed back to play the WSOP again. Allowed back to play the WSOP again. Hashtag he bagged 2 bigs.
We still going?
I just kept talking because I assumed he'd be able to fix it later, but
I don't think he's recording.
It just stopped.
Oh,
hey, sorry.
Anytime there's a screw up, I just repeat what I say and do it again, and I assume you can fix it later.
Yeah, I can.
If it's recorded, it's not.
What the fuck?
That's a technical term right there. What the fuck?
Yeah. Sorry. There's only 9 people watching. There's
9 people.
Audio engine not able to process all required data in time.
Oh. Too many processes.
Run out of memory.
Something like that.
It could easily be just the amount of videos just smashing your computer. Oop.
It says I'm only using 70. Optimize.
Oh, there we go.
We are back.
Okay, what do you say here?
Dace, who writes, guy next to me in the Colossus told his wife, Sophia again.
Yeah.
Oh, it did catch everything.
Say, but yeah, just where to go there. Ready?
Where am I starting from?
You just say the guy couldn't. My wife said I couldn't play the WSOP again.
So you want me to read the whole thing over, right?
Yes, might as well.
Okay, I'll read the whole thing over.
Okay.
Who writes, guy next to me in the Colossus told me his wife said if he didn't make day 2, he was never allowed to play the WSOP again. Hashtag he bagged 2 bigs, which is...
How does he not explain to his wife that that's not optimal poker? Like, this isn't helping.
I don't think he cares because clearly his wife doesn't understand that. Otherwise, she doesn't make an ultimatum in the first place. So he did what he needed to do. I mean, it's in a sense correct life optimal strategy because he gets to play.
Oh, he played correctly.
Yeah.
She didn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
We need to get her on the show.
I mean, what are we gonna like? Okay, yeah, like you and me happen to have partners where they realize, you should maximize your equity,
right,
or something like that.
No,
but
try everybody does that.
Try telling it. Yeah.
So has she? It seems like she's on the far scale of this is a skill game instead of a chance game.
Yeah. That's she's not aware of any skill. So I mean, going back to like what we talked about earlier with like a relationship like Liv Beret and Igor Kurganov. I mean, that would be funny if Liv told Igor something like, "If you don't maximize equity, you're never gonna play again."
How have you in your past? I know you've had relationships with people who didn't think the same way as your current girlfriend. Maybe
I don't know. I think
you have a hard time ever explaining it.
I think they've all understood on a conceptual level the sort of idea that you're really just trying to stack the odds in your favor, and it's not really about how you do in one given tournament, or it's just about the decision you make. I don't know if I've had anybody just completely not get it.
Yeah,
I think most of the girls I've dated have at least some idea. They might not be the most mathematically inclined person, but I think they've just generally, have a concept of it.
Good. Last one there. At Blaze Fair.
Oh yeah, Blaze Fair. This may or may not have been a Colossus tweet, but I like it anyway, regardless of what event it happened in. Blaze Fair writes, busted a guy who took 2 waters and didn't give a tip. which is kind of
it's karma.
Busting cheap.
You get 2 waters, give them $1.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple.
You got time for one?
Yeah,
more from
go.
me?
Oh, yeah.
I got. So this is one of those multi-part tweets.
Yes.
You know, sometimes you can quote a tweet on the old Twitters, and the tweet, the original tweet is actually from Kate Hall, and she wrote basically, you know, a pro tip for how to find your car in the parking lot, which I can't seem to pull up right now, but it was basically when you get your car, face 180 degrees away from the Rio and note where your car is lined up. Because what happens is, you know, for those of you who haven't been to the back parking lot at the Rio, it's a monstrosity. It's a gigantic parking lot, and people are constantly forgetting which aisle really parked in after about 11 hours of poker.
That's it.
You know,
you're in there, you're thinking about other things, but you've also been there 12 times.
Right.
And you parked in 12 different spots.
Exactly.
It's not like you were there once and you remember where you parked. Oh, I parked there yesterday, you know, so you forget.
So it's sort of like taking a mental image. I mean, I guess you could actually take a camera image of sort of where you are relative to it. But yeah, people like, and it's hot out there, as we've alluded to. You know, it's like 43 degrees and the sun's beating down on you. A lot of times if you busted at like 4 p.m. or something like that, or it's the end of the day, you just want to get home. So Kate is helpfully trying to give people advice on GTO parking strategy.
So after parking,
turn your back
to the entrance
and note where you're lined up, sort of on the horizontal x-axis, and note which strip you're lined up with. Right. Seems to make sense.
You have like a memory when you walk towards.
Right. Yes. Exactly. The response from at Mario Silvestri 3 Ponosaurus is pro tip. And so she write pro tip after parking, turn your back to the Rio entrance, start walking, and never look back. Which isn't it a little bit early in the World Series to be super emo about the Rio? I think that's like week 3 stuff.
Unless you play
still a great tweet.
$1 million worth of buy-ins.
Yeah, I mean, which I guess some people have. They probably already played.
There's
like
some people
$250,000.
There's
people $250,000 in already.
Oh yeah, they got
No, crazy.
All right,
talk about one of the people who's not stuck.
He's not stuck that much money. This is Bob again, Haralabos Vulgaris. If you don't follow Haralabob at Haralabob on Twitter, you're doing something wrong. This is probably the top. I mean, I love I love wagering on watching his wagers and his stories and stuff. So hearing about him talk about basketball, I just learned more and more and more about basketball.
Yeah.
So I love his tweets. There's also some funny stuff and poker stuff. At Haralabob is a great follow. So somebody tweeted at him while he was playing in the little one for one drop, or it might have been in the 300K. I'm not sure.
The big one.
So he said, this person named Tony said, did you have 100% of yourself?
The most common question in poker, anytime somebody plays like a high stakes tournament. Yeah. I don't know what the obsession is of knowing what percentage is, but it's a thing.
So, I mean, I guess I understand it. You always curious. Well, because if a guy wins $6 million, your first thing is, well, how much did he win?
Why do I care what other people's money is worth?
True, but I guess some people care. Anyway,
I don't care about other people.
Bob tweets back, and he answers the tweet. If he had 100% of himself, he goes, of course. Number 1, who would buy a piece of me? Number 2, I'm rich.
Great answer.
It's hilarious because he just answers stuff like that. All right, the last one was a series of tweets from Isaac Caxton at Ike Poker, who was not happy about the fact that some of these big buy-in tournaments weren't going hand for hand they were going hand for hand, one off the money in the actual bubble, when he felt like there's no reason for this. And he tweeted, can someone remind me what possible reason there is not to go hand for hand earlier than the exact bubble in high buy-in tournaments? Somehow tournament directors think this is a behavioral problem that players can be scolded out of rather than a structural problem. It's insane. And he's absolutely right, because people are financially incentivized to stall when you're 2-3 off the button.
I wouldn't even say it's an issue in high buy-in tournaments only.
It's in all tournaments.
It's in all tournaments. It's especially acute in high buy-in tournaments, because not just because the money is higher, but also because the fields are smaller and it takes longer for people to bust. Like, you don't really have to go hand for hand that early and say the World Series main event or the Colossus or something like that, because people are busting up bang, like the rate of like a few, many.
It's not like you can look at 40 tables and watch somebody who's got the short stack.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think it's especially acute in the higher buy-in tournaments, but I think it is an issue. I mean, even tournaments with field of like 1,000 where 150 people get paid, you see this stalling, and it would probably be fine to do it 3 or 4 off the money. I think I played the scoop, and I was super annoyed at all the ridiculous stalling that people were doing. It sucks.
Well, and the problem is it's frustrating because there's a simple solution. When you have a solution to these problems, like
exactly,
why aren't we using the very simple solution of X, Y, or Z? I mean, there's several solutions.
Go orbit for orbit,
orbit, freehand, whatever you want to do, right? And the main event, dealer stand. There's 100 tables left or whatever at cash.
Yeah.
Stand up a dealer when you've dealt the hand, and we wait for every dealer to stand up, whatever it is. And when you're talking about these high buy-in tournaments, it's exponentially more amount. The money means more because there's obviously a bigger prize pool and fewer people playing in these things.
Yeah.
So it's much easier to do than say a main event. Yeah. And why aren't we doing this? And my buddy, also before we get to that tweet, Phil Galfond said tournaments. He also chimed in. He said tournaments like this really need to go hand for hand sooner than one off the money. No one knows a single reason why they wouldn't. Bordal, who my Norwegian buddy, but he also works at PokerStars. He says, I absolutely agree. And might I add that clock should be paused during hand for hand and move forward by a fixed amount every hand, which is absolutely. I mean, that's because a lot of the arguments is we speed through. If we go hand for hand, we get them playing, but that again easily solved. So not quite sure why they haven't done that, but hey, it's the World Series of Poker does stuff, and I'm sure they'll come around at some point. It's a big series, and hey, they got a lot on their mind. I get it. Let's get to the mailbag.
And now,
that right there is the mail. Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Malcolm? I'm dying to talk about the mails with you all day, okay?
Mailbag. Email number 1.
Our buddy Grateful Mouse. I always love the Adam stories of running out of gas or running gas down to his fumes. The recent trip to the airport one was a classic. I wonder if he also plays the other game of how much gas he can put in the tank. I like to see if I can get as much gas in the tank as possible before spillage occurs. Keep up the great work. I do. I've got a whole thing about this. So today, and I actually had an EV decision today. When I left my house, which is an hour's drive away from here, the light was on empty.
Yeah.
Now I've run this car out of gas, so I know pretty close to where it runs out of gas.
Where the light turns on.
From when the light, or where the needle is. Yeah. Like I've got a pretty good handle on how far it can go past empty. So it was close. It was like, I could probably make it. I mean, we had to start at a certain time, and I was prepping the show, and I was trying to get as much done as I could, jumping in the car, but I bailed. I actually maybe like 5 miles from here ended up filling up because I was right on the line of running out.
Does your car also give you the how many miles remaining range?
It's a minivan.
Well, those are incredibly inaccurate anyway. But it's funny every time I've done it a few times where I see like the range and it's like less than 0 kilometers. It's like a less than
there's just a line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
just a little graphic says you need to get gas fucking now.
So my fill-up strategy is this. So in Vancouver, there's a very large tax levy for transit. And what happens is in Canada, of course, taxes are really high, but they add like 5 or 10 cents onto a liter of gas for a transit levy. Taking a bus instead of driving, you're going to pay extra fee, and that's fine. I agree with this kind of stuff. Use transit if you can. But I live sort of near the outskirts of where this tax actually gets levied. So if I drive
arbitrage opportunity,
right? If I drive 15 kilometers to this little outpost, and right over the line they have gas stations. They have like 4 gas stations because it's all 10 cents.
They don't even have to say no gas.
And we know where the line is because there are 4 gas stations right there. Anyway, people drive out. You'll see like pickup trucks with giant gas tanks, and they fill up like 1,000 liters, and they bring it home and they fill up all their cars, whatever. Anyway, so if I drive out I always save up until I'm going that way. We go see movies out there, whatever, with my kids. Or hockey or whatever. If I'm driving that way, I'll fill up. So I always save like I'm jockeying between my cars to get them all low on gas for the next time I go out there. Anyway, so you go out there, and what I'll do is I'll fill it up. I know exactly how many liters I can get in every tank, and when the pump stops because I'm full, I shake the car. Air bubbles in your tank, you can fill up a little more. So
so you know something about that is that. I was told. I used to work at a gas station. That was one of my first jobs when I was a teenager. And
did you ever get held up or anything?
No. Okay. So the funny thing about this is that we never got robbed once. We had like a stash of weapons behind the counter.
What? But, like guns?
No. Like clubs and shit like that. But it's funny.
So now you could use them. Back then, you're like, I'm not using this.
Yeah. Back when I did this, there was also a Subway, Subway sandwich place across the street. Got robbed like 6 times in the time that I worked there. And the simple reason,
like $12 from the Subway.
Right, but the simple reason is that it's much easier. So a gas station usually has one guy who runs the cashier and one guy who pumps the gas, runs out to the car and fill the gas.
It was full serve.
It was a full serve gas station. Had the full serve options, and the Subway only has one guy. So the same guy who makes your sandwich is the guy who takes the money. So it's significantly more of an issue to rob a place that's got 2 staff members than once, because one could always be behind you or something like that. There's just so much, and so they would rather
have weapons,
just take the easy money from the Subway. So that Subway got robbed constantly. But here's an interesting thing: is that I don't know if it's 100% true, but what they told us is that when you top up your tank, you're actually not necessarily getting more money in your tank, because you're pumping liquid or gasoline that's just going into the hose, and because there's like that vapor lock
on the hose
on the car, so when you're filling up and trying to squeeze that extra little bit in, when that automatic shut off, that's cutting off the flow. It's sealing the air, and then no extra gas is going into the tube. So you might not actually be making as much money. You might actually be losing money. I'm not sure. I've heard that this is true though.
All right. Hit it.
Email number 2.
A little bit of stutter step there. Professor Frank writes, hey guys, long-time listener, first-time emailer from Christchurch, New England.
New Zealand. I love New Zealand.
New Zealand's great. 14,303,700 lengths of a sheep from Kells. And of course, they do got a lot of sheep there, so he would know.
Yeah.
The other day when Adam was talking about running the petrol tank low on his truck, Jesus, do we talk about anything else on the show?
I know.
It was reminded I used to do the same thing at the same time, and also so I'm not driving around with extra fuel weight. Always going well until one day my car stopped working on the way to work. I had to go get a mobile mechanic to come check out my car. He fixed the issue, which was replacing the fuel pump, which had stopped working. He said, how often do you drive this car with low fuel in it? I said, all the time. And he goes, well, that's the reason the fuel pump crapped out, because if you run your car fuel low all the time, it starts picking up the crap from the bottom of the fuel tank and gets clogged up. So after being coolered and spending any money I'd saved over the years on a repair bill, I no longer run the tank so low anymore. You're
well, I don't buy that. I've been told that a lot. I don't buy that. I think that's just like some mechanics ain't coming in and change your oil filter more.
But this guy's thing is already broke. This guy's fuel pump did bust.
No, I know, but you hear mechanics saying this all, or oil change places. Oh, you better change your filter. I'm like, come on, I don't buy. They just want you to spend more money.
We need a real mechanic. We've got to have some mechanics out there. We've got to have some mechanics out there in Pokercast.
Adam's a fuel pump denier.
It's like exactly. I can't remember what comedian did it, but there's an old joke about getting. I don't think I've said this on the show, where some comedian makes the joke of a mechanic saying to him, "Oh, you need a new Johnson rod," and it's like, okay, I guess I need a new Johnson. You just believe some guy, just not buying it.
The professor writes, my suggestion for a guest on the show is the veteran voice of the Octagon, Bruce Buffer, whom you and MJ had on the show.
So we did. When we were in San Jose at the Bay 101 Classic a couple of years back, we had Bruce on. If you want to listen to that show, it's a fun interview. Bruce is a great guest.
He's very uncensored. I'll say that.
He's uncensored.
I listened to that one.
Tells good stories. Yeah. Check out the archives at 2+2 Pokercast to listen to that one.
You had communication with the other guy who does the announcements, right?
Oh, Joe Martinez. Yeah. He's a great announcer as well. Yeah, he did a voicemail thing for me for free.
Oh, nice.
We can put that on the show sometime. I'll send you the MP3 file.
Okay. Go to finish Professor Frank's email.
He's got some requests for some drops. So Ross, I hope you're ready on the Switch.
The drops ready?
Okay.
He wants
to have to jump around.
He wants to hear the following in order. So this is a test of your skills. Okay. He wants to hear Will Kassouf, 9 high like a boss.
I only have like a boss.
Like a boss. All right, good enough. We'll give partial credit. He says that guy, whom of course is David Sklansky, saying the best way to not tilt is not to tilt. Or actually, I think it's slightly different, isn't it? It's not tilting is better than tilting.
Yeah.
Not tilting is obviously better than tilting.
Okay, we're 2 for 2.
I wish we could take out obviously there. So it could just be not tilting is better than tilting.
I could, yeah.
The Swedish, no, it's good as it is.
Better?
It's good. You don't need to mess with greatness. The Swedish dude talking about the old lady. I think I know what he's talking
I've
about.
never played PLO with the old lady, but I can't imagine she would fold. I wouldn't expect an old lady to fold.
There you go. And then, we missed this one. In between each drop, we'll just save it at the end. In between each broad, having Keegan say numbers. We got that one?
Stupid numbers.
Stupid numbers.
Stupid numbers. Keegan making friends on Twitter again, by the way.
Crazy numbers. Stupid numbers.
He's good with the Twitter. I'll give him that.
He's trying to conjure up another fight on Twitter.
He's doing a good job of it. It worked once.
He's trying to troll the other guy into a fight, and I think the other guy's not even taking it.
He's not?
The other guy didn't want to fight him, apparently.
Oh, really?
So there you go.
I was thinking a good marketing thing for Keegan is his initials are KO.
I'm sure he's thought of that.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I don't know. See, yeah, who knows? We got a bunch more emails, but we're way out of time. We're way over time, I think. We got a bunch of stuff to do here, so we're gonna.
I gotta try to buy a house.
You gotta buy a house. I gotta go down to the seawall and enjoy this beautiful summer.
Oh, it's an amazing day. If you're going, especially if you're going down to Vegas, you got to take advantage of all the nice Vancouver days.
Exactly. So
because you can't step outside Vegas.
No,
you just melt.
So we're going to come back. We're going to do those emails next week. We're going to be in Vegas. Hopefully the next time we do a show. I think
sounds like it.
Tuesday we'll try and do a show.
Cool.
If you're in Vegas, please say hi to us. Send us a message somehow. We want to hang out.
Media credentials in the Rio.
We'll try and get media. I don't know. They don't.
They're going to kick us out.
They'll probably just say get lost.
Kev Math will just enforce us.
We'll hide behind Kev Math.
Toss him out. Hey, don't joke about that.
No, you're small. You're 140 pounds. I'm now a smaller guy.
You are now
6'5" or whatever
he
it
is.
is. Yeah.
He's big.
Size 11 shoes.
You, Kev?
I remember you mentioned that on the show.
Or no, not size 11. They're like 16 or something.
Yeah, like I'm 11.
Yeah.
But anyway. All right, that's going to wrap it up for the show. Thanks to you three and everybody for listening to the show. Thank you to Xander so much for doing all that he does for the Pokercast community. Please head on over to our forum and support him in his efforts to make this a fun podcast with a bunch of people. And send your emails to pokercast@2plus2.com. We definitely need some more emails because we'll get all ours wrapped up with next week. You have been listening to the 2plus2 Pokercast presented by runatoncE.com. We will talk to you next week.
All right.
We'll finish with 6 viewers, so maybe people were watching.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.
Thank you.